Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Growfolds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Home Depot off of Custer Road in McKinney, Texas. As always, plant foldies, please make sure you're hitting that like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram. Follow me at Growfolds. I love to connect with you guys, and you already know if you like all of these 1-hour plant shopping videos daily, please make sure you are subscribing to my channel with all of the notification bell on. Again, for my viewers, plant foldies, I call those my viewers and subscribers. This is just another installment where I am doing a late afternoon run to Home Depot to see if they have any plants available to purchase. You know, this is the summertime, and what I'm noticing about big box stores, especially at Walmart at least, I've noticed that they've downsized the amount of plants that they have in the indoor section. So we're going to check and see if Home Depot is in the same situation. You can see they still have quite a bit of plants. They've got a bunch of citrus plants here. Now with citrus plants like lemon trees and whatnot, those are plants that I know, at least in my grow zone 8B, which is North Dallas, won't be able to grow in the landscape. You would need to grow them in containers. So it's really important, again, for those that are watching, to make sure that if you're going to grow plants in your landscape, to know your grow zone. I do see that this Home Depot still has quite a bit of cacti and succulents. I love the look of these cactus. You know, this one right here, for instance, is a torch cactus. Really interesting looking cactus. Now, I will say with any of the cactus or succulent, this one is for $26.98, the San Pedro cactus. You just want to make sure that you are giving them just full sun. It is one of those cactus that you want to make sure that get an ample amount of light. You know, when it comes down to certain plants, it really does boil down to the amount of light they receive in order for them to really thrive. And you can see here, this is another one for $26.98. We've got another interesting looking cactus right over here. In my personal collection, I don't really have a lot of cactus or succulents. I actually have about 4 to count, and those are succulents that are mostly pink, just because I like pink plants. And you know, succulents are a good variety of plants that you can get those colors. Now over here we have a crown of thorns, which is another blooming type succulent plant. It does have quite a bit of thorns. This one is in many different types of varieties. This one is a pink variety. They also require full sun. So again, for those that have been tuning into my big box stores, I really appreciate the engagement you guys have given me. I try to give you guys daily plant shopping video content. I recently showed you guys some of my plant tourism, where I went and took a vacation to the Philippines for about 2 weeks and showcased some of the plants that you see at these big box stores in their native environment. But you can see here, for instance, this is a super prickly cactus. This one is a golden barrel cactus. I see this one, it's quite common, but you can see here it is also for $26.98. This is also sourced out by Smart Plants. So that's another nursery that sources out a lot of succulents and cactus. It's really interesting that, you know, the big box stores that I typically go to, which would be Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot, they have their places that source the plants to them. Costa Farms typically sources out to Walmart and Lowe's. I haven't seen as many Costa Farm plants though at Home Depot, which is quite interesting. You'll see more of like the Vigoro nursery, but over here we've got some agave. We also have some fire sticks. So what I like about fire sticks is you can see that it has really bright yellow tones to its new growth. This is another type of succulent plant that does require full sun in order for it to really thrive. I have done a little bit of research when it comes to some of the plants, especially with succulents, but I'm not versed enough to really give you guys like plant care tips. So again, if you are a plant foldie that grows cactus or succulents, please make sure you guys are leaving plant care tips and comments in the comment section. I love the plant engagement. I've seen a lot of people leaving multiple comments for me to respond to. So as you watch this during a live premiere chat, or even if you're just watching this by clicking onto my video, I love getting that engagement from you. But you can see here there were some decent plants. You know, typically there would be more plants even on the outside section of the outdoor garden section. So we're just going to walk in and see what plants they have at this Home Depot. I frequent this Home Depot. This is a Home Depot that I've gotten several of my plants throughout the growing season. And so it's just interesting how big box stores, as far as like our house plants and especially our outdoor gardening plants, have started to transition. Some of them have downsized. So it is my I guess my mission to really find some big box stores in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to see if we have any more plants or if we've downsized on the plants. But this is one of my favorite Home Depots to visit. So we're going to walk over here. And a couple of things I did want to announce is for those that have been following my channel for the last couple of months, I am going to be going to PlantCon 2024. It's on August 31st, September 1st in Dallas. I will have some Grow Folds t-shirts. So on my Instagram, I've shown you guys some of my Grow Folds t-shirts. I haven't had a set price yet, but if you're interested, please leave a comment in the comment section, as well as sending me a direct message on my Instagram. I'm super excited. I have about 40 shirts that will get to me on August 12th. So I would love to have your support. I think it'd be really amazing. And I will also be designing more shirts for you guys. But as you can see, walking into the outdoor section, we are greeted with the Vigoro hanging basket fixture. I also like to go shop or do filming when it's late afternoon, early morning, or late evening, just because there's not as many customers or people shopping around, which makes it easy for me to just film wide shots to really show all the plants. You can see here though, for $19.98 is a hanging basket by Vigoro of Epipremnum aureum Marble Queen Pothos. I have started to really get into pothos again, and the reason being is, number one, pothos are easy to care for plants. Number two, they're readily accessible. And then number three, they have so many different varieties. And number four, I love plant propagation, and you can take so many cuttings and actually propagate them very easily. Another plant that's easy to care for is a Philodendron heteroraceum Brazil. This one is also for $19.98. And what I like about this particular plant is it's also readily available. It's an easy to care for plant. It's budget friendly, and the variegation or coloration is really actually influenced by the amount of light it's given. I also have a bunch of Monstera adansonii right over here. This is also for $19.98. With Monstera adansonii, you can grow it as a trailing hanging basket, but truthfully, this plant wants to grow up a pole, a moss pole, because in its natural environment, it actually attaches itself to trees. The leaves will actually get larger in size, and that's really the more natural habit of the Monstera adansonii. So plant foldies, as we are doing our plant video shopping, I want to give you guys more of the native or natural growth patterns of some of these plants. That's how you will maximize actually on the beauty of the plant, is by letting it grow the way it's supposed to grow in nature. So Epipremnum aureum or pothos plants in the Philippines, they had massive leaves that also fenestrated. And what I mean by fenestrating is when the leaves start to split, you get holes in it. That's just to allow more light to shine through the lower branches and the lower leaves. So that's the reason why it wants to climb up a tree. But as you can see here, this is another beautiful Monstera adansonii. There are several nodes that you can possibly cut to root them in water. So I really like that as well. I do like the fact that Monstera adansonii has an easy way to be able to propagate these plants. You can see right here, they've got several nodes. So like here's one where you can take a cutting there, and then you can take another cutting here. So you'll have two new rooted cuttings that you can possibly do in water. Water propagation is very easy for Monstera adansonii. What I like to do with plants that trail like that is I like to take several cuttings, root them in water, and either plant them into the mother plant or create a new plant. Here is another easy to care for plant as well. This is an Epipremnum aureum Neon Queen Pothos. Love a neon not Neon Queen Pothos. This is just Neon Pothos. So Neon Pothos, the thing about the colors of the Neon Pothos is you really want to get it a lot of bright light. If it doesn't get nearly as much light, it'll become more of a green color versus that neon yellow, neon green color. So the more bright light you give it, the better coloration it'll have. You'll notice that some of the plant over on this Pothos, for instance, is a little bit more green, but the leaves or the area that gets more light will be more of that neon color. It is one of my favorite pothos. It's a pretty vigorous pothos plant as well. It grows pretty fast, and again, you can take a lot of cuttings when it comes down to it to propagate the plant. Vigoro baskets are really nice because I do think that for $19.99 for $19.98. It's actually a really cost-effective plant. This one is another Hoya carnosa. This could be a Hoya carnosa, maybe Crimson Princess. Now, the thing I like about Hoya plants is that they're a very forgiving plant. I mentioned this in a lot of my videos, plant foldies, but when it comes to Hoya plants, they're very much drought tolerant. So I literally didn't water a pothos plant, not a pothos plant, a Hoya plant, sorry, for like a month, and the leaves did start to kind of shrivel up, but after watering it, it just inflated itself and it was back to normal. So for folks like me who don't water nearly as consistently as maybe some other people, Hoyas are actually a plant that will be best for me because I don't really water as much. And you can see here beautiful variegation on a Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess for $19.98. I have yet to see my Hoyas bloom, but I've seen Hoyas in the past blooming and they have such a fragrant smell about them, and they're just really diverse in the types of blooms that they have. Like you can see here, this is another Hoya carnosa that's just mostly green. I will see what that looks like, and then we'll see what that looks like as well in terms of just what blooms come out of that. This one is also for $19.98. Super excited to show you Hoyas. I know a lot of my plant foldies are interested in Hoyas. A lot of big box stores typically don't have Hoyas available. They'll only have the Hoya carnosa. One plant that they will always have though is a jade pothos, or the common green original pothos plant, Epiprimnum aureum jade. This one is for $19.98, and this is the fastest growing pothos plant. I know that people will look at pothos plants as a very common plant, basic plant, but really I think every plant collector, whether you're growing really expensive rare variegated monsteras or aroids, should still have a pothos plant. I think this is what we really need in our plant collections. When I came back from the Philippines, one thing I realized is a lot of plants, we work a lot to keep them alive in our indoor spaces, but really a lot of plant care should really be more reliant on the natural environment. And that's the thing. I've actually had to downsize a lot of my plants because some of my plants, it's just too much effort to keep them alive. So I've ended up either composting them or just parting ways with them. So we'll see what that looks like. I know that as far as like the stresses of keeping up with plant care has really decreased for me. And for me to be able to do daily plant content, this does take quite a bit of time to show you all of these beautiful plants. I have to at least film for about an hour. It takes a good 4 hours to really edit, put the plant IDs, the voice over the music, and then saving it and uploading it to YouTube. So now that I've been able to downsize some of my plants, I have to do less plant care, and I can really focus my energy into the plant shopping videos or my YouTube content. I am super excited, Plant Foldies, to be meeting up with you guys at PlantCon. I hope you guys will also like to wear my t-shirt during PlantCon. That is one way to identify me. Since I will remain faceless on YouTube, I've just decided that that's probably the best for me. I may eventually do a face reveal, but my face reveal will be when I meet up with you Plant Foldies in person. So if you haven't already, please make sure you are buying your PlantCon tickets. Super exciting. You will see some really cool plants. I promise, for those that are not able to make it to my to PlantCon, I will have literally hours and hours of videos filmed. I will have my iPad to really have some more extra storage. That way I'll be able to film even more. That's the thing about me filming plants. I run out of storage because I use my iPhone to be able to film, and I just run out of it. But throughout my rambling of just, updates of my life, you can see that Proven Winners has many plants. They've got some hydroponic plants for $19.98. And then they have these leaf joy plants. That is one thing I will say. Proven Winners really sources out a lot of their indoor tropical plants to Home Depot. I have never seen them really source out to Lowe's or Walmart. So just really interesting how certain big box stores really acquire their plants. You can see right here, this is an Alocasia longiloba. I've had this Alocasia. It hasn't done well for me. And that's the thing about Alocasias. A lot of them don't do well for us indoors because they are either spider mite prone. We don't give them enough humidity. But I do feel like, especially Alocasia, they are really meant to grow outdoors. Number one, I've noticed that when I do pull my Alocasia to grow outdoors, outdoors, they do a lot better versus having to really have humidifiers or even making sure we're spraying them with neem oil to prevent the spider mites. Now, this is another philodendron I do like that's easy, and this is a philodendron rojo Congo, another easy to care for plant. It does get massive. It is more of a clumping type of philodendron versus one that really wants to climb up a pole. So that's really interesting. And then we also have a Ficus elastica ruby here. Now with Ficus elastica or rubber tree plants, they do require a lot of light. In the Philippines, they can actually grow into full-blown trees up to 20 to 30 feet tall. And for those that are new to my channel, I always reference the Philippines because my family is originally from the Philippines. I recently took a trip there and I saw all of these plants I'm picking up in their native habitats, and they got massive. They were extremely beautiful, and that's really conducive to the tropical environment that they live. Over here we do have a rainbow elephant bush. This is for $12.98 by Smart Plants again. A really nice variegated type succulent plant. It reminds me of a variegated jade plant, and this one is another common plant that you will find at mostly at big box stores. I know Walmart has carried a rainbow elephant bush as well, and you know, Smart Plants will source out to Walmart. And then over here is a fishbone cactus for $12.98. So this is another type of succulent plant. It's really interesting, the shape of the actual cactus. In general, I think that succulents have a really unique way of getting some of their foliage to be a unique shape. You can see right here, this is a string of bananas. I don't really have a lot of string of anything. The only strings I have are string of variegated hearts. And that was, you know, another plant that I would say maybe 2 to 3 years ago was a really popular plant. It was like the it plant. I will say that it's become a little bit more common. Some people, you know, carry a lot of the string of some things, but for me, I think just a string of hearts variegated is just going to be one plant. I do struggle to grow succulents in my plant collection, and I think it's because I haven't really mastered the lighting conditions. You know, I would just assume like maybe even this peperomia, for instance. I think this is a variegated peperomia cupid for $12.98. Would like, my first assumption is since it's a succulent, it could go out in full sun, but I was later educated by some awesome plant foldies stating that, you know, not all succulents can be put into full sun. They do just require a lot of light, but some of them are not meant to go into full sun. With Texas summers, we have some extremely hot weather, 100+ degree weather. It has been more of a mild summer, so I'm thankful for that, but some of my succulents just didn't really do well. Actually, talking to a seller who was selling some rare succulents, she even says that she's based in Houston, right? She says that she takes her succulents indoors during the summer because it's a little too hot for them. So what I would say about any plant that you buy at a big box store, a local nursery, or just acquire from somebody is make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you're thinking about your grow zones, your lighting conditions in your home, the amount of time you can actually invest into the plant and just its growth habit. I think there would be more success when it comes down to it for your plant care. Now, over here is a string of watermelons. Now, I've never seen this before, and it's really cool because when you look at the actual plant, it does look like little miniature watermelons, and I just think that's really cool. There's just so many different types of strings, but I've never seen a string of watermelons. You can see that there are several hanging baskets of Vigoro plants, which I think is super cool. You can see right over here is another string of watermelon. Now, plant foldies. What I do enjoy about these plant shopping videos, and I know that there are a lot of just big box store, my format is the same. I just like being able to talk about plants, talk about my insights, give you guys my care tips, my tips in general. And so for those that have continued to just engage with me and enjoy my content of me just pretty much talking your ear off for about an hour and a half daily, I really appreciate it. We are close to 10,000 subscribers. We're about 100 subscribers away to reaching 10,000 subscribers. So for those that have hit the like button on this video, which is super easy, you just hit the like button. For those that have left many comments, insightful comments in the comment section, those are ways to really have the YouTube algorithm push the videos. I also will say the number one way to help the video get pushed to more people is literally watching the entire video through. So if you click on my video and you don't have time to watch it all the way through, I would say save it for another time. That way you get the full experience. Watch time is super important, and I just like retaining your watch time. So if there's any other plant content you'd like to see in the future, please make sure you're leaving that in the comments as well. I am open to feedback. But as you can see here, Home Depot, this is one of the Home Depots I do enjoy going to. They just have quite a bit of plants, and you can see there is a diversity of all of these succulent plants here. These are succulent arrangements, and I really like the look of that. This one is not a bad price at all. And for anybody who enjoys just succulents, please leave some comments in the comments section. I'd really like to learn a little bit more. But you can see these Vigoro hanging baskets for $19.98. The plants are actually fairly healthy looking, so that's not a bad price at all. I think that that's actually giving you some good value. And then we're gonna walk over here and take a look at some more of the other plants, and I'll just pan over and show you. Home Depot is a great place to get some beautiful large specimens of alocasia. Like, take a look at this alocasia, Regal Shields. Such a beautiful plant. It is an alocasia though that I do think gets a little bit more spider mite prone when grown indoors. Now, if you're gonna grow this plant, and this is only for $29.98, I would suggest growing that outdoors if possible, just because I feel like a lot of these alocasias, they just do better with the ambient humidity that we get from the outdoors. But you can see right here, lots of Regal Shield alocasias. Beautiful plant. I like the purple undersides of the leaves and that really extreme veining it has. So we're gonna go ahead, plant these, and keep walking to see what other plants they have. I mean, for the most part, I've seen that Home Depot still has quite a bit of plants available to purchase. It is definitely more full than the Walmart outdoor sections that I've been to. So we're gonna just continue to see what they have here. It looks like they've got some of these plants on sale. And so I'll just pan over and show you what plants they have available. It looks like they've got some succulent arrangement as well. So we'll see what kind of plants that they still have available for the summertime. You can see different types of succulents. This is some type of euphorbia right over here. So plant foldies, if you made it this far, again, please hit that like button, leave some comments, let me know what you think so far of the plants that we're looking at this Home Depot. I love the Rodeo oyster plant, that beautiful pink variegation. And then this looks like it has, this one is only for $39.98 for this succulent arrangement. Look at this really cool variegated crown of thorns, just a small variety here. That's actually a really good bargain, considering that a variegated crown of thorns for just a little bit bigger of a price would be like $20. So it's really interesting how sometimes these succulent arrangements will have some rare or uncommon types of succulents or cactus. We're going to take a look and see if there's anything else interesting here. I do like that the pink Rodeo oyster plant is right in the middle of that. I didn't realize that it is more so a succulent type plant. When you touch the texture of the leaves, it definitely has that that texture about it. But we'll keep walking over here. You can see that there are still lots of plants. I'm actually happy to see that they have a lot of plants still available at Home Depot. Over here, we're looking at some canna lilies. And then again, with canna lilies are plants that require full sun in order for them to really thrive. And you can see that they have the darker foliage leaves, and we have some more of the just green tones. They have different varieties of colors for the blooms, and that's another plant I saw a lot in the Philippines. And you can see right over here, we've got some Ixora plants. Now this was a flowering shrub that is also very much more so a tropical shrub. This plant is actually absolutely stunning when it is actually blooming. I saw a bunch of these also when I was on my trip to the Philippines. Now these ones are for $21.98. Now with all of these flowering shrubs that are tropical, you will definitely need to grow them in containers, depending on your grow zone. For my grow zone, you definitely would need to put them in a container because you'll have to overwinter them or bring them inside somewhere that they're protected from the frost or just the cool weather and the cool temperatures. But you can see we still have a lot of mixed planters. So, you know, it is summer. It is still a place where you can grow a lot of your plants. I would suggest, especially for house plants or tropical plants, especially philodendron, if you have a patio that gets like really good morning sun and protection from that late afternoon sun, you can actually get your plants to grow quite a bit. I've noticed that philodendron and just tropical plants, when you're putting them in a shaded environment outdoors, they're less pest prone, and then they also just grow at a more vigorous rate. So that's what I've been doing. So if you ever have a plant, like for instance, my syngonias haven't been doing well, I've literally cut them back down to the base, and that's just one way of rehabilitating the plants. They just kind of get to start over, but to really jumpstart that, you want to go ahead and just put them outside. So that's what I'm currently doing with some of the plants. I want to try to save and see if I can actually salvage them. But, you know, that remains to be seen. Plant foldies, I never really say that I am a professional when it comes to plants. I definitely don't have a perfect plant collection. You know, a lot of my plants, I choose them because they bring me joy. So whether it's just the plant care that I invest in, or just anything that sparks my interest, whether it's the propagation potential or the color of the plant. A lot of my plants, I don't necessarily collect because they're a rare plant or they're a variegated plant. Like, mind you, I do like variegated plants, but there's some plants that I just really enjoy, like aglaonemas, for instance. I just love the color of aglaonemas, and you know, for the most part, people will think aglaonemas are a basic plant. So there are reasons as to why we actually grow plants, and I'm just curious to see in the comment section like what plants you like, if they're common plants, rare plants, what draws you to them. Because as I pick up all of these plants, for instance, I just showed you the vinca flower. I'm also showing you lantana. I love lantanas, for instance, not because they're an inexpensive plant, but just even the easy care plant. They are a plant that grows very well for me in my landscape. I mean, when you think about it, 100+ degree weather in Texas, this is a drought tolerant plant. It loves full sun. My backyard doesn't have a lot of shade, and they are such a vigorous grower as well. So, lantanas, for instance, they interest me. I want to grow them because of those features of that particular plant. Now, I'm looking at a lot of these canna lily plants, and while I do think that they are an interesting plant, there's something about that plant that doesn't really interest me in adding them to my collection. I don't know if it's just the way the plant looks, but it's not something that I'm like running over to, buy plants for like canna lilies to add into my plant collection. Now this one is $36.98, and it does have some really interesting blooms, but like there's certain plants that I do gravitate to. So it would be like pothos plants, syngoniums, for instance, aglaonema. Those are the plants that I'm really invested in, as well as like philodendron. I didn't realize philodendrons were super easy to grow. And you can see right here, this is a Rodeo oyster plant. That's another plant I like. You can grow that as a ground cover, as an annual, but you can also grow that as an indoor house plant, and that's what I intend to do. Currently mine is growing outdoors. You can see right here, this is a Cape Plumbago plant. I really like that light blue, almost like lavender color. And then this is a plant fertilizer I use. I actually use a shake and feed. What I do is I actually mix a couple of the granules in my potting mix, so that way the plants are consistently being fed. And that's the thing I haven't really gotten into, is just plant fertilization. How often do you do it? What type of nutrients you do to really promote that growth? And over here is a Spiderwort Purple Queen for $8.98. Surprisingly, I didn't realize that this was considered a perennial. And plant folies, if you don't know the term perennial, it basically means it's a plant that will grow in a certain grow zone. It will grow through a growing cycle, whether it's spring, summer, fall, and potentially die in the winter, but then come back next year. So it's a plant that you don't have to replant year after year. Now there's an annual plant literally just grows one growing season, and you'll have to replant it. But you can see right here, lantana, for instance, this is another plant that interests me because not only is it easy care, drought tolerant, full sun loving, it is also a perennial. So while it produces those beautiful blooms with such little plant care, it is a plant that you don't have to break the buck on in terms of having to replant it year after year, because it is a perennial. So I know a lot of you plant foldies are looking at the indoor tropical plants, and don't trust and believe I will go back to that. But I do like talking about gardening, because I feel feel like plants, especially after visiting the Philippines, most plants really are meant to grow outdoors. And so looking at these landscape plants, these garden plants at a big box store like Home Depot, super excited to see, as you can see here, that this Home Depot is still fairly stocked. Like, this is a plant, variegated ginger, that I have attempted to grow indoors. I love the variegation. I mean, look at how beautiful this plant is. I feel like it is an underrated plant. This plant, when grown in the landscape, is a perennial. I've tried to grow this indoors, but what I've noticed about this particular plant is when you grow them indoors, and this is only for $19.98, that's a pretty big size plant actually, is that it is very much spider mite prone when you bring that indoors. So that is a problem, and I really think it's because it's just not getting the natural environment, so the plant's health is a little bit more compromised. I do notice that with a variegated ginger plant, when you put it in an environment that has high humidity, it absolutely thrives. It is a plant that grows pretty fast as well, and with such beautiful variegation, this is a plant that does prefer a lot more light. So if you provide it with more light, it definitely will give you some better coloration. You know, there's certain plants, variegation is either influenced by the initial genetics of the plant, so no matter how much light you give it, it will always just push out whatever genetics it has. Or you have plants like that where it's influenced by the amount of light. One plant that is a very quick reverter if you don't give it a lot of light would be like a Yesenia pothos plant. I don't know if you've ever carried one of those, or a chameleon ZZ plant. Those will revert to green if you don't give it enough light. Now over here is another plant product I use. This is a Miracle Grow liquid plant food. What I use this for is for some of my hydroponics. I just put a little trace element of that. It has a very small dosage of nutrients, so it can't really burn the roots. And then plant foldies, I'm going to show you this. So what I like about Home Depot, at least in the Texas area, is they have a Texas series of plants that are native, or at least can tolerate the climate of Texas. And then you can see right here, this one right here is one of my favorite flowering shrubs. This is a Chinese fringe shrub, and I love the dark purple leaves it has. This one is for $14.98. The only problem is with this particular shrub is during the winter, if you get a really cold winter, it doesn't bounce back well. Mine actually ended up dying, so it really made me sad because they had some really good structure to their shape. And then you can see those dark foliage plants are those crepe myrtles. We're just going to look at some of these shrubs as well. This is the lone variegated oleander that I wanted to buy, and I may end up just buying because look at how beautiful the variegation is. This is a twist of pink oleander. Look at how beautiful that variegation is. Again, with oleander, it is an extremely toxic, poisonous plant. You'd never want to ingest any of the leaves. You want to keep your pets away from it. You want to have children away from it. If you cut it for some reason, you don't want the sap on your hands because it is highly toxic and can really cause some skin irritation. You definitely don't want to ingest an oleander, but this one right here can take full sun, and it has beautiful variegation, and I am obsessed with it. You know, variegated plants, you know, I have a soft spot for it. I do appreciate the green, just green plants, but sometimes that variegation, like look at that. That is all variegated right there, and it is just such a beautiful plant. It's a plant that I definitely should have added into my collection. And the only thing is, you know, if you, for instance, plant foldies, buy a plant or don't buy a plant, just know if it was located in a big box store, whether it's next year or a couple weeks away, they will always restock it. And so that urgency to have to buy that plant right then and there, sometimes you have to just reframe your mind in thinking that it's going to be restocked. I have regretted buying certain plants or not buying certain plants because I did not see it get restocked. But in many cases, especially when it comes to a big box store, they will get restocked. But this is the last twist of pink oleander. If you were in my position, would you buy the plant? Plant foldies, leave that in the comments. Let me know. Again, I really love comments. I think that is one way you can really show your appreciation for the efforts I put in the video, as well as just being able to connect with me. As you can tell, plant foldies, I love to talk about plants. I have been talking about plants for more than half a year now, and for some reason, plant foldies, you guys are continuing to come back to my videos. I really appreciate that. I also love the fact that there's always a plant party. You know, I see a lot of these regulars, you know, Kathy, we always look for you. Kathy is one of my original plant foldies from Canada. Tree, you're always in all of my plant shopping videos. Thank you so much. And, you know, if anybody were to ask me why I call my YouTube channel Grow Folds, originally it was an ASMR origami paper crane channel where I was basically folding origami paper cranes daily. A little fun fact about me is I have been folding paper cranes for a good 7 years now in the hopes of being able to fold 1 million paper cranes. There is this legend where if you fold 1,000 paper cranes, you will be granted a wish. I really just find it therapeutic to just fold paper cranes. So that's the reason why I started YouTube, is just to have like an outlet where I can share that. So if you haven't scrolled down my really old videos, I literally have hundreds of videos, tutorials of how to, you know, fold an origami paper crane. I hope my plant foldies will not only love, you know, plants with me, but also take the hobby of possibly learning how to fold an origami paper crane. So if you can, if you watch this video, if you're bored, if you're curious, please go scroll my really old videos. I have playlists that show how to fold an origami paper crane. I think it would really solidify being a certified plant foldie. That's the reason why I say plant foldie. That's being able to fold origami paper crane. So definitely check that out. But anyways, to come back off of that tangent, I did show you a bunch of those plumeria plants. Love plumerias. They need full sun. They love tropical weather. They can get to sizes of 20 feet in tropical countries like the Philippines. Mandevilla flowers as well. They do very well in a tropical climate. The more full sun they get, the more blooms. And you can see all of these plants that I am panning over are a lot of the tropical plants. These are plants that if you're going to grow them in a landscape in my grow zone, at least 8B North Dallas, they will only grow one growing cycle. They will not survive the winter. You will have to replant them. Desert rose, I love that. And for desert rose this size, look at the codex right over here, $29.98. I was looking for some white ones. Now what I'm interested in doing is finding variegated desert rose at PlantCon. So if you're going to ask me what wish list plants I'm looking for at PlantCon, I'm looking for a variegated Monstera mint, a variegated Philodendron gloriosum, a variegated desert rose, some cool looking Hoyas, and maybe some other interesting plants, some aglaonemas. So that's kind of like my wish list plant list for PlantCon. We'll see if I can find some really cost effective pricing. And I did want to shout out one of my favorite plant shopping shops in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a small business called Pita's Planters. Plant foldies, I'm thinking for our plant foldie meetup, I think we should use that as a centralized area to meet up at Pita's Planters. Pita's Planters will have a booth. So Pita, if you're watching this video, let me know if that is a good place for us to meet up. I definitely want us to get excited. I want us to support Pita's Planters because it is one of these small businesses that have really been kind to me, and they have amazing plants. I'm glad that they are doing PlantCon. So plant foldies, just know that Pita's Planters will probably be our centralized area to meet up. I know that there's several of you guys already flying in to go to PlantCon. If you want to join PlantCon, I would highly recommend it. I would love to meet all of you guys. We can take some pictures together. Although I will ask, if we do take pictures, if you're going to post it on social media, just don't reveal my face and let them know who really Grow Folds is. That would just be my only caution if you guys want to do that. But super excited to interact with you guys because as you can see, I take you guys along with me to do these plant shopping videos. And you can just see sometimes looking at plants and just walking around vicariously through my camera lens is all I need to do. Sometimes it's just really relaxing for me, and really this is just very therapeutic to do a voiceover and kind of just talk to you guys. I hope that you guys never feel like you're lonely. I hope that plant foldies, we find a community where if you're having a bad day, if you tune in and just relax to the videos, let's do it. I think it's awesome, and I think it's another way to just really bring out the best in each other, having that that community. And then you can see here, this is a crassula or a jade plant, one of the most easy to care for succulent plants. They have so many different varieties. Now this is just the crassula ovata, which is basically the basic one. that I grew up growing. My grandmother, who I've said in all my videos is really my source of inspiration and who has gotten me into plants. She's the master of plant care. And when you think about it, she's from the Philippines. So like some of the plant care tips we do don't really apply to how she grew up, because you just grow plants outdoors. Over here is one of the most stunning looking agave plants. Like look at that right over here. Now what's cool about agave is it is like a succulent plant, but it is also cold tolerant. So you can grow something beautiful like this, at least in North Dallas, my grow zone, which is 8B, in the ground, in the landscape, and it'll do okay. Can we talk about how this is such an interesting looking cactus right over here? Now this cactus also is quite interesting in the fact that it's fuzzy. It just has a really unique texture about it. It's just kind of unusual. And that's the thing I like about cactus. This is only for $26.96. This is a prickly pear snow. I do have a prickly pear cactus growing on the side of my house. It is in the landscape. It is low, cold tolerant. So maybe the snow cactus might actually work for me as well. And this one is an interesting aloe vera velociraptor. That one's for $9.98. This is really interesting, and I've said this in all of my videos, but I didn't even realize that aloe vera come in so many different varieties. I always think of aloe vera as that one regular one that you'll see as like a medicinal type aloe vera, but clearly there's more. And then over here, this is an opuntia plant, but for most opuntia, I don't think they're as nearly as prickly as that one. And then all of these other plants, like this is our go-to classic golden barrel cactus for $9.98. I think about some of my plant foldies that really enjoy cactus. I know some people that's not your thing, cactus and succulents. Truthfully, I like to go give you guys a diverse variety of different types of plants to look at, because I feel like sometimes having exposure to certain plants will get you interested. Like I talked about my love for coleus plants. Most people would oversee coleus plants and think it's like a basic plant. It's a plant that you just grow in a little patio container, but it can actually be a legitimate, very rewarding house plant. And so I was really excited to have been able to influence some of the plant foldies to grow that. But you can see here, now this is a plant that is quite interesting. These grafted cactus. So you can see that the bright red cactus right there is actually grafted on. I've never been into it, so like I don't know if it can actually get larger, if the red part would actually get larger. So plant foldies, if you know anything about this particular cactus, like look at how bright that yellow grafted cactus is. Super awesome. I love the fact that they have the red, yellow, and orange, so all of those bright colors. It's a really nice one. Again, I think for cactus and succulents, the best type of weather would be a weather kind of like California off the coast. I've noticed that succulent and cactus can grow in landscapes year round. They can get extremely large. They're extremely beautiful. One of my favorite types of succulents is called an Aeonium. They have these like starburst looking, rosette looking shapes, and it's really cool. I'm not a fan of this, and if you can tell why, this is basically somebody might have painted or spray painted the cactus. I don't really find that all attractive, but guys, plant foldies, this is so cool. Variegated string of hearts. Oh my gosh, I see. That's when you know I got excited. Look at this. This is only for $5.98 in a 4.5, 5-inch planter. That is a really good price. This is some really good variegation. And if you don't know anything about the variegated string of hearts, number one, variegated string of hearts does need quite a bright indirect light. Number two, it is a vigorous grower for a trailing string of something. So like you can see here, there's already a lot of strings. Typically that'll like tangle up. It is also another plant that's easy to propagate. What you'll do is just cut like a string off, twist it around the top of a soil and just mist it, and it will propagate itself. I have 2 hanging baskets. One hanging basket is growing in my kitchen right next to the window. It gets east facing light, and it's been doing very well. And then I have another one outside that is doing okay, but I don't think it really likes the really hot weather of Texas. But I ended up finding something similar to that. Now, when you give variegated string of hearts a lot of bright light, like if you literally grow it under a grow light for 24 hours straight, it will sun stress. And For those that don't know what sun stress means, it means that the variegation will change to where you'll get some reds, you'll get some pinks, you'll get some red outlining, some dark outlining. It's just that the plant has received a little bit more light than it's used to. It's not necessarily burning it, it's just giving it a little bit more stressors. It happens a lot to Hoyas, but succulents, it's another plant that if you sun stress it, you'll get some beautiful pinks. But what a nice plant find. I'm super excited to find some variegated string of hearts. I may come back and buy a variegated string of hearts because they're very easy. And again, they fit my plant care, which is being more negligent when it comes to watering my plants. I am what you call an underwaterer. And so that plant will work out for me. I'm thinking I might buy it and probably bring it to work. I have a couple of plants that I've taken to work. So I'm actually interested, plant foldies. Have you ever like inundated or just filled up your home to where you're finding other places to take your plants? I have started to take some plants to work. I think that extra greenery kind of helps with my mental health and just keeping me calm and balanced and grounded. And it's just fun. But you can see here, this is another succulent plant right here. I know that I've been showing you guys a lot of succulents, but for some reason during the summertime, or at least when we're downsizing on plants, succulents are always going to be available year round. Like this is a really cool echeveria right over here. Look at that. It looks like the pink is like neon glowing. You know, plants that are used to, you will see year round would be succulents and Phalaenopsis orchids. Literally, you can go to a grocery store and you will find a Phalaenopsis orchid. Most recently, I found a variegated Phalaenopsis orchid at Kroger, which I thought was really cool. But plant foldies, we're gonna walk over here and check out some of the plants that they have here. This is what most people are more interested in, and it's the tropical, intertropical plants. So we're gonna take a look at what plants they have available here. I do like showing you this. Like for instance, this one is for $19.98, and this is a Calathea lancifolia, beautiful common Calathea. But what I will tell you about Calatheas, and I say this in all my videos, they are the biggest heartbreakers. They show you this beautiful foliage. They show you how they are just lush and full, but give it 2 weeks. If you don't give them the right watering, the right humidity, they will either be infested with spider mites or just die somehow. They're also fussy in terms of that you want to keep their soil moist, and that's just a plant that hasn't really worked out for me. Now, I thought I found a plant hack with Calatheas. Like I literally will take a Calathea like this. This is a Calathea medallion for $10.98. Remove all the soil and try to grow it hydroponically, which is basically growing it in water with some plant nutrients. It's still got spider mites, and you would think, how do you get spider mites when you have ambient humidity with the water? It so happens it happens. And so for me, there's just certain plants that I can only like appreciate while they're still in a local nursery or a big box store. But in terms of taking them home, it's just not really something I want to get back into. There's just plants that I've learned that, you know, no matter how often we want to try to grow them, it's going to be difficult. Now this right here is an Aglonema Silver Bay for $14.98. This is a Vigoro plant in a 6-inch planter. I will say you could probably find a little less expensive Aglonema for that size, but you know, with that size Aglonema, that could be an Aglonema you can put on an office desktop. Aglonemas again are low light tolerant. It doesn't mean that they will thrive, but you can grow them in lower light conditions. They won't have the best variegation though. Beautiful Epipremnum aureum golden pothos, and this is really what a golden pothos should look like. Notice how there's so much variegation on that. Really good specimen. That's also for $14.98 by Vigoro. And then you can see right here, these are Epipremnum aureum pothos for $9.98. It's on sale. They used to be $12, and you can see right here another 6-inch planter, a pothos, golden pothos plant. Beautiful pothos, actually. I love the variegation, and actually $9.98 for a 6-inch planter is a really good deal when it comes to pothos plants. I would recommend it. So if you're able to go to a big box store like Home Depot and they have it on sale, definitely buy it. It's a good starter plant. This one is another, I think this is a Marble Queen pothos. I do apologize because the lighting is a little bit different. You know, it's the twilight zone. I'm filming this around 8 o'clock at night, so the sun has pretty much set, but you can see I still have some decent lighting. And you can see right over here we've got another Calathea lancifolia. I did have this Calathea. All of my Calatheas I've had unfortunately have passed away and have gone to plant heaven, so that's just a plant, I'm sorry to say, will just not make it back to my collection. The only type of finicky plants I have left would be a Stromanthe Triostar and a variegated Marantha that I got from an amazing YouTuber. His name is Planting with Pete. He ended up sending me one of those, and I am growing that currently in a hydroponic situation, and it's doing okay. We do have some more plants that we are taking a look at. We've got these Hoya carnosas. I really like the look of Hoya carnosa. It is another easy to care for plant. But we'll see how that all goes right here. You know, with Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess, this one is only for $10.97. Not a bad price at all. Hoyas, again, are easy to care for plants. I can understand why people become Hoya heads. It's because you literally have a plant that has some really cool variegation, amazing blooms, a pretty vigorous grower, and they're easy to care for. Now, the secret to growing Hoyas would be, from what I've been told, is higher humidity levels, more bright light. It'll be super happy. That one right there is a Peperomia Rousseau. Peperomias in general are easy to take care of. I've noticed more of the obtusifolia type Peperomias are easier, but as I pan away here, you can see that this Home Depot sells quite a bit of plants. Super excited that they still do, because plants have to be admired year round. Like, would you agree? Plant foldies, leave that in the comments. And if you've made it this far and you still haven't hit that like button, please make sure you hit that like button. I have a lot of plant foldies that will get on the chat. Isaac, Luke, Kathy, all of you guys will continue to encourage people to hit the like button. I cannot tell you how much it helps my YouTube videos. So if anything, just for my efforts to produce these daily videos, please hit that like button. As you can see here, though, we do have some hydroponic plants. So these are plants that are just growing in water. This is the H2O series by Proven Winners. This one is a Syngonium champagne. Love the pink on it. And then this one right here is such a cute little plant. This is called a Thenanthe amagris, I think, or Burley Marxii Thenanthe. Really cool looking plant. Some people will also call this the Calathea fishbone. There's just so many different names for certain plants. It's either a Calathea or Thenanthe. They're calling it a Thenanthe. Either way, it's growing in hydroponics and it's actually super cute. And then, like I said, Phalaenopsis orchids. Whether you go to a big box store, a local plant nursery, or a grocery store. I will say grocery stores probably have the best orchids. You will see that year round, but you can see here lots of plants. And then this is a Pilea peperomoides, or a Chinese money plant. This one is also by Vigoro hanging baskets for $19.97. This is a plant that continues to produce little babies. So it's self-propagates. You can take the little babies, separate them, and create more. These plants can get massive as well. I'm looking for a variegated form, and you can see right here, we've got some Hoya carnosa Crimson Queens. I really like that. Either Crimson Queens, or is it a Hoya carnosa tricolor? Beautiful white cream variegation. Again, this is another Hoya that I have in a hanging basket. It's doing fairly well for me. It does get better variegation with more light. And then this one here is a Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. Gotta love the Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. Like, take a look at that for $19.98. Super exciting to see that they have these hanging baskets year round. You can never have enough of Philodendron Hederaceum. I will say they're not as hardy or as forgiving as an Epipremnum aureum or a pothos plant, like you can see here. Jade pothos plant, super fast growing, very vigorous, $19.98 in a hanging basket, again by Vigoro. So pothos, if I haven't influenced you to buy a pothos, please try to buy a pothos plant. Give it a chance. It's an awesome plant. I know that some of you guys might have some really cool variegated plants, some aeroids, but try a pothos plant. It will bring you joy. Over here is another plant that for some reason, a lot of people like. This one's for $15.98, and this is what you call a cast iron plant. I'm not really sure what the allure is for this particular plant, but that is a plant that a lot of people seem to like. They say that it is a little bit more uncommon to find. And then right over here, we've got a Dracaena colorama. This one is for $19.98. This one has some browning on the leaves, but you know, if you have a perfect specimen, when the light hits it, it looks like it's on fire. Beautiful, full, and lush Epipremnum aureum golden pothos for $19.98. Again, it looks like this Home Depot has actually gotten a good restock of some of their pothos plants. I don't always see pothos plants being this lush and full. Really exciting to see that. And you know, I have a lot of propagations of golden pothos that I really do need to just pot up. There's just a lot of propagations I do in water in general that just need to be pot up. I just have been lazy, so I need to do that perhaps this weekend. You know, my birthday is on August 7th, which is next Wednesday. So I am taking the day off to just kind of recalibrate, really enjoy my birthday. I turned 42. Super excited about that. I'm just happy that I am healthy. I've been able to accomplish a lot this year. And I've been able to just meet a bunch of you guys plant foldies via virtual. So hopefully for PlantCon, we can all meet up. But yes, I'm excited to actually celebrate my birthday this weekend. I am off from work. I'll be going out with some plant foldy friends, and we're just gonna have a good time getting some sushi. That's one of my favorite types of foods, and Dallas has a lot of them. But you can see lots of common but easy to care for plants. I picked up a golden pothos, another Aglaonema Silver Bay. Those are all for $14.98 by Vigoro Plants. And you can just see as I turn around here, now this is an interesting plant. When you touch the leaves, it's large, but it's also fuzzy almost. I'm not sure what this plant is. We can take a look at the plant ID, and it also has a really interesting bloom. So I would assume this is number one, another tropical plant that probably cannot grow in the landscape. So let's take a look at what this plant's name is. This is a curcuma plant for $34.98. I haven't actually ever seen a curcuma plant. What an interesting plant. Clearly it has that tropical vibe about it. It almost gives me like a peace lily spathiphyllum look on the leaves, but the leaves actually feel fuzzy when you touch it. What a lush and full plant. That actually brings me a lot of joy. I love seeing plants like this. Really cool looking plant. Love the blooms. Just love everything about it. I just don't think I could grow this indoors though. Plant foldies, let me know if you think I would be able to grow that indoors. I just think it would just need more light and humidity. And then you can see right here, what a cool ficus plant. This is a ficus chandelier for $29.98 by Proven Winners. So the thing I appreciate about ficus plants is when they're grown in their natural habitats, they become full-blown trees. Like if you haven't seen my Philippines plant videos, there is going to be a playlist. I have 5 of them now. I would also like for you guys just to see how plants grow in their natural environment. Like even bromeliads were used as almost like a ground cover in the Philippines. Beautiful bromeliads, but it's just really interesting how that all pans out when it comes down to the natural habit. So over here, so I think for $29.98, these are some large Calathea medallions, and I was already juked to buying one of these a little earlier this year. They had some Calathea macuyanas. Unfortunately, mine died. It just didn't do well, but look at how perfect these look, and look at how large these Calatheas are. I just wish Calatheas would not be such a finicky plant. I just really think it's a plant that has been hybridized, has been popularized by so many people, but at the end of the day, they really need to just be grown outside in a tropical, humid environment for them to really thrive. Now, plant foldies, let me know if there's anybody who has successfully grown Calatheas long term and has a collection. I'd really like to know. I'm actually curious to see if there's any YouTubers or plant influencers that grow Calathea exclusively. That would be an interesting topic to kind of discuss. So let me know what you think. And then obviously this is a Monstera deliciosa. Gotta love Monstera deliciosas. Common plant now. It used to be the it plant about 3 to 4 years ago. I'm just glad it's more readily available. It is another plant that I have propagated multiple times. And then I'm gonna go back here and show you these Alocasia regal shields. So I did have to tell you, my battery ended up dying that evening when I was actually plant shopping and filming, but I wanted to make sure I had enough content to provide. So this is me coming back early morning to the same Home Depot, so you can see the lighting is a little bit different. This is a Arabian jasmine for $29.99. This is also the national flower of my home country, the Philippines. We call it sampaguita. This is also the jasmine flower that's used in jasmine tea. So if you drink jasmine tea, the fragrant flowers, that's what they infuse it with. But it's cool that they have this. And what's even better is I didn't realize that this was a perennial in my grow zone. That's always the reason why I always thought, hey, my grandmother actually grows them in her garden in North Houston, and they come back year after year. I never really paid attention to that. I thought she would just replant them, but it's so happens that they're perennial. So that's cool. And then I did want to show you this right over here, plant foldies. This is super cool to see that they also have some more desert rose. This one is also for $29.98. Plant foldies, let me know if that is a good price for this large desert rose here. I think they're really pretty plants. I've seen desert rose before in bonsai form. So it'll be really interesting to see what kind of desert rose I would find at the plant con. I am just getting super excited about going to plant con, plant foldies. Like, you guys cannot even imagine how excited I am. I have already produced some, plant foldy t-shirts that I'm hoping to distribute and sell as well at plant con. So we'll see if how that goes. I will be receiving that PlantCon, those t-shirts by August 12th. So if you're interested in getting a t-shirt that I can bring to you if you're going to PlantCon, let me know. I have some limited sizing, but I do have 4 different colors that you can choose from. But you can see here though, plant foldies, beautiful desert rose. This one is in bloom. I actually like the color of that desert rose. So plant foldies, let me know what you think. Do you grow desert rose? This one looks super healthy as well. I will say with desert rose, they definitely do better being more on the drier side. If you overwater them, their caudux, or what you would call their trunk, will rot very easily. But it is a beautiful morning. I'm gonna go inside again and check out what plants that they have that I wasn't able to really look at. But you can see here some ornamental peppers. Now these peppers are definitely not meant to be eaten. They're really more of ornamental peppers, which brings me to it. I never showed you guys my purple ornamental peppers. It was like purple and lavender variegation on the leaves. Absolutely stunning. That's another plant I definitely want to try to grow indoors if can be. So we're going to see what that looks like. But as you can see, look at how beautiful the morning is at this Home Depot. And, whether you shop early morning, you can see there's not as many people, or late afternoon, evening. That's really the best times for me to shop and actually film, because number one, whenever I'm doing plant shopping videos, I never want to try to get anybody in the film, just to respect people's privacy. And number two, I just don't want to be hassled to have to try to avoid people shopping. Sometimes people might feel a little bit awkward having somebody filming. So there is a little bit of caution when I do my plant shopping videos. There is a lot of effort that I have to put in, but I do that for our plant foldies, because if you're watching this video right now, for instance, that means you care enough to really care about what I want to tell you, what content I'm presenting. And then you can see here, this is a neon creeping Jenny. So one thing that's interesting about a lot of these proven winter plants, or just these ground cover plants, is they can be grown as a quote indoor house plant, because they have that trailing trailing growth pattern, which makes them very good candidates to be put in a hanging basket. That's where we get a lot of the hanging baskets. You can see here we have some Asiatic jasmine, and I bought this because I really love this. This is a variegated form of an Asiatic jasmine. This is an Asiatic jasmine tricolor, and notice how it does get some sun stressing. This one is for $5.98. It's a pretty fast grower. I love the variegation. This is another plant that I am growing in a 6-inch container in the hopes of possibly bringing indoors when it gets cold. I haven't done enough research to see if it's another plant that can survive my grow zone, which is 8B, but beautiful plant. Sometimes I like to go out of the norm of what people want to grow as indoor plants. So you'll hear me talk about coleus plants, and then you'll also hear me talk about these ground cover plants. So plant foldies, what do you think about this plant? It's so beautiful, isn't it? Or at least I think it is. Just that variegation, and then the trailing habit it has for its growth pattern. And right next to it, we have just a green variety of an Asiatic jasmine. This one is for $3.98. And over here we have some Japanese holly fern for $6.98. Really interesting plant. I don't know a lot about it. I don't have fern in my current collection. Now, if I am gonna, actually add fern into my collection, the 2 fern I would add would be a bird's nest fern, and maybe the Boston fern. We'll see about that. And then over here we have a Hedera helix, or the correct way to say it is Hedera helix or English ivy. This is for $3.98. You know, with Hedera helix, it is creeping its way back. Plant foldies, you already know y'all like to count that. Now, for those that are watching this video for the first time, please do not be scared of the Hedera helix. It's just a plant foldy inside joke. I am thinking about doing a Hedera helix t-shirt, so we'll see about that. But you can see here another Asiatic jasmine for $7.98. You can see how much it's trailing. Look at that. That's a pretty cool looking plant. Now, I would just need to do research on whether it needs a lot of sun or just light, because if it does, then it would not be a good plant to grow indoors. You know, most plants that are more low light tolerant are better suited for indoors, or at least can be grown indoors, versus a plant that needs a lot of light. Interesting fern here. This is an autumn fern for $9.98. And what's interesting is the new growth comes out this bronze tone, and then it just greens up as it hardens its leaves. So I think that that is interesting. That's probably why they call it the autumn fern. And then we're just going to spin around here and take a look at some more of the other plants they have available. You can see there's quite a bit of succulents and cactus right here. You can see there's just many varieties. I'm just curious if anybody just has a cactus or succulent collection. I can see the allure of these plants just because they do have so many varieties and so many interesting textures. Like this one is a cold hardy porcupine cactus for $29.98. But my thing is, if you were to go put this porcupine cactus, how would you plant it? Because it's just very prickly. So I've seen people use tongs to actually carry it, or some really thick gloves. I just wouldn't want to get pricked by them. And then you can see these are some more fire sticks. Fire sticks are very common to see, but what a beautiful looking succulent type cactus plant. I don't know if it actually blooms. I would assume it is. A lot of these succulents and cactus will end up blooming, but you can see Home Depot and a lot of big box stores will actually have this. They'll have a lot of succulent arrangements. That's something really common for people to do, is make succulent arrangements. I think that's super cool. And then you can see right here, they do have some Altman Reserve type succulents and cactus. This one right here is for $19.98. This looks almost like a crown of thorns euphorbia type deal. And then we also have this right here. This is a Christmas sleigh aloe vera, which is really cool as well. I like that a lot. Look at that red outlining it has as well. And then they have this one really caught my eye. I'm gonna try not to get myself pricked because it's super prickly. We're gonna probably have to move some stuff around, but this is another variegated agave. I may just need to move some things around to be able to see that, but you can see they also have all of these cactus right here, and the fuzzy cactus ones look like a bunch of spider webs. It just kind of gives that Halloween vibe. And you know, it is a summer. It'll be August, September, October. 3 months from now, it's going to be Halloween. Then we'll be into the holidays, and then we're back the next year. It's so interesting that just this year has flown by. I'm really thankful though, because I have gotten a lot of traction when it comes to my YouTube channel about plants. And you know, I always ask my plant foldies, especially if you have social media, please share my YouTube channel on your social medias. I would really like to grow our community. Again, we are really close to 10,000 subscribers, and it's just a lot of fun to be able to check in on each other during the live premiere chats. You can see right here, these are called livingstones or lithops. Interesting, very odd looking plant, but needless to say, you could probably have a bunch of these planted in a container and it would just be kind of an interesting plant. I will say that since it is one of those succulent plants, it is gonna need a lot of light. Now, I'm not sure if it wants to be out in full sun, but definitely lots of bright light. And then we have all of these cute little hanging containers of cactus right over here for a pretty good price. And then we have some more succulents right over here. cool looking succulent that I like. This is a Crusala lemon and lime. Love that variegation. And you know, the more light you give that particular succulent, the more variegation you'll get. But you can see in the morning how beautiful these succulent arrangements are. So we're gonna go back and take a look at some of these indoor tropical plants. Because my battery died, I wanted to make sure that I filmed any other plants that I may have missed. So we're just gonna pass by here and take a look at some more of the plants. Again, Plant Foldies, for those that have tuned in, thank you so much. Please make sure you're hitting that like button and leave as many comments as you like. I do respond to every single one of them. Over here is a Ficus elastica Chloe by Proven Winners. That one has more rounder leaves. That would be a you know, anything that's ficus needs a lot of light. And then this is another philodendron Rojo Congo that I just think is absolutely stunning. It is another plant that is very common, but needless to say, you know, that's an easy to care for plant. The reason why a plant is common is because it's readily available to reproduce and propagate. And you know, that's what I would say, Plant Foldies. Think about the plants that you're bringing into your plant collection. If it's easy to care for, you're going to get more joy out of it. And then over here, this is really interesting. For $22.98, we got a papaya tree. Now this long term would not be able to grow in my climate, but you know, you can put it in a pot. Really cool looking shape on the leaves. It's another plant that was just basically all over the Philippines, just growing out on the sides of the roads, and you can get some free papaya fruit there. And then we're gonna pass by a bunch of Boston fern, and then I did want to show you this because I love aglonemas, and then especially even this common looking one. This is an Aglonema Silver Bay, again, $24.98 or $29.98, somewhere around that range. And right next to it is another Aglonema. This is White Rain, and what I like about this Aglonema is, if you notice, look at how white the stems are. Absolutely stunning Aglonema. That is another plant that I think everybody should really be into as well. Just everybody try aglonemas is what I'm trying to say. Plant Foldies, some people, it may not be for you, but trust and believe, it is such an easy to care for plant. It creates pups, so basically it'll push out more babies that you can separate from the mother plant. And you can see that there is a subtle difference with it. This Silver Bay one has green stems. The White Rain one has more white stems. I love white stem aglonemas. The one country that has some really good Aglonema hybrids would be Indonesia. And Plant Foldies, stay tuned to my Green Spaces ID plant review. I am importing some plants from Indonesia, so hopefully they will come to me soon in good shape. Over here are a bunch of China doll plants. This is a plant, unfortunately, as much as I love the texture, as much as I love the leaves, this is a plant I can't put in my plant collection because it is a plant that is very thirsty. Mine ended up just crisping up because I didn't water it as frequently as I needed to be. So that's just another plant that is just not going to be part of my plant collection. And then over here we have a Ficus lyrata. I think that's super cool as well. And then we you know, people say that that was an it plant. I still think it is. I just think that the more people may not be into plants. You know, during the pandemic, a lot of people got into plants, and then post-pandemic, it kind of weaned off, and so there was not as much interest. But I'm noticing that there is a new surge of people loving plants. I honestly think plants in general, it's a very cyclical cycle. Like it's sometimes we have that interest, and I can tell by just maybe even the engagement. You know, people ask me why I specify or really go into the niche of like big box store plant shopping. And that's very simple. It's because most people shop at a big box store, and that's probably their first initial exposure to plants. And that's the reason why, for me, not only do I want to provide a community where we can look at plants daily, but I also want to expose people who are new to plants, some of the plant care tips, some of my insights, and just to look at plants. Big box stores will always have plants, you know. Plant nurseries, local plant nurseries, shops like that, they're not always as accessible. Not everybody has some cool plant nurseries like Dallas. I am partial to Dallas because I feel like in general we do a really good job of just having some diverse plants available. So, you know, we'll see what that all looks like in the long run, but for now, I'm just really enjoying these big box store plant shopping videos. I think it's a really good deal to be able to show you guys that. And you can see here even all of these Hoyas and Peperomias and Sansevierias. They're everywhere. But Plant Foldies, what do you guys think about today's installment? You know, I have taken a little bit more time to film a little bit more content. I love this Rodeo oyster plant, just all of the arrangement and just being able to go during early morning to see. So if you like this video, please make sure you're hitting that like button. It does help out a lot. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed my installment today. I will have another brand new plant shopping video of Big Box Store tomorrow. As always, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel with the notification bell on. I will have many brand new videos. This is Richie at Grow Folds. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today will be big box store plant shopping at the Home Depot out in Prosper, Texas. As always, please make sure you are following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. Also, subscribe to my channel with all the notification bell on if you like 1 hour plant shopping videos daily. But as you can see here, this is Prosper, Texas Home Depot. This is out in North Dallas. To my plant foldies, and if you're new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. I have been on a hunt just to see what big box store plants we still have going on for the summertime. It has been 100+ degree weather in Texas, so it's been extremely hot. And I've noticed that some big box stores are starting to kind of downsize some of their plants. Now, the Prosper Home Depot is one of the best Home Depots because they tend to keep their plants in stock and they're super healthy. You can see right off the bat, we have a really cool looking red pineapple right over here. Now, pineapples are part of the bromeliad family, and I didn't realize that until I started seeing pineapple bromeliads at a Walmart. And you can just see right here, we've got lots of plants outdoors, more so than the other Walmarts I've been seeing. You know, I am based out in North Dallas, and it's just really interesting to see what big box stores have plants. I've mentioned this before, a lot of big box stores are not created equal. So some big box stores may end up having more plants than others. I am excited to see that there are quite a bit of plants. You can see right off the bat here, we also have some interesting agave plants. I think this is a Matsumoto agave plant for $44.98. Now, agave can actually be grown in my grow zone, which is 8B in North Dallas. So that's interesting that you can put that in the landscape. You know, I always assume that cactus or succulents are actually more prone to just more desert-like areas, but you can see that some of them are actually cold tolerant. Now, this one right here is 2 for $12. These are the fire stick cactus. So you can see that there are plants that are starting to be put on sale. Some of these plants are starting to get liquidated, so you'll get more of a value plant. So I would say, if you're looking for sales, summertime or late summer is a good place to go plant shopping, or just a good time to go plant shopping, because a lot of plants are starting to get liquidated to make room for like the holiday season. Halloween is around the corner, Thanksgiving, and then obviously Christmas and just the holidays in general. But you can see Old Man of the Andres cactus. What an interesting looking cactus right over here. And then we also have some more cactus right over here. But I do enjoy shopping at this particular Home Depot because they always have some nice plants, and they tend to merchandise their plants very well. I would say out of the 3 Home Depot I've visited so far, this one tends to have the most plants available for purchase. You can see right here, desert rose. And I told myself that I would be looking for a white desert rose. Super excited to see that they have white desert rose here. Now, these are only for $29.98. And a lot of our plant foldies have mentioned that that's actually a really good price for desert rose. Now, I love desert rose. It's just one of those plants that you would have to be very cautious about growing in an area that gets really cold winters. This is not a plant that can tolerate really cold conditions. It does prefer to be in full sun, and it also likes to be more so on the drier side. You don't want to really overwater it because then the caudex or the trunk will root. It is susceptible to root rot, but I do love the fact that there are white blooms. So I may come back for that desert rose. I may actually purchase it, so we'll see, but I am holding off because I am excited to go to PlantCon 2024, August 31st, September 1st. If you haven't bought your tickets, definitely check that out, but there's going to be a lot of interesting plants. So as I do these plant shopping videos, like you can see here, golden barrel cactus only for $9.98. I am excited to just kind of see what plants they have, but I'm also being cautious about my my plant budget. I'm saving my money because I already know I will be buying buying quite a bit of plants at PlantCon. Now, Plant Foldies, if you are a local Plant Foldie that will be going to PlantCon, I'm thinking that we could all use PETA's Planters booth as a central meetup if we all want to just meet up over there. So we'll get some more of the details as the time comes around. But you can see right here, Opuntia Emerald Way. What an interesting looking Opuntia. These I guess succulents are all sourced out by Smart Plants. Really like that. And then this is a royal red euphorbia. Look at how cool that is. I like that variegation. And this one is only for $39.98. So Plant Foldies, what do you think so far of some of the succulents and cacti that I've shown? Have no fear, I will definitely touch base on a lot of the indoor tropical plants. This location is known for having some really good selections here, so we're going to take a look at that. And then over here, we've got a Madagascar palm, beautiful plant. That's a plant that also is similar to a plumeria. It actually gets blooms. And then I am going to look at this right here. So this is a ground cover plant. This is an Asiatic jasmine for $3.98. I am growing this actually in a container in the hopes of maybe making this an indoor plant to grow as like a trailing plant. So we'll see about that. And then over here, we've got Hydra Helix. So this is the Hedera Helix or English Ivy. This one is for $3.98. English Ivy is a tough plant to grow indoors. It's actually one of the most challenging plants to grow indoors because it's such a spider mite prone plant. For those that have never been to this channel, I mispronounce Hedera Helix as Hydra Helix because that's kind of like a Plant Foldie staple. So don't be scared off by that. It's literally just an inside joke. And then over here, we've got some lily turf. Look at how the roots have just started to pop out of the drainage holes. This is also for $3.98. That one is green on green variegation. And then I'm going to look over here. So I don't have a lot of fern in my plant collection. I do appreciate ferns. This one is an autumn fern for $9.98. And what's cool about the autumn fern is it actually has new growth that comes out more of like a bronze look about it, which is really interesting. Love that for the fern. And then what else do we have here? We've got some Asiatic jasmine as well. This one is a little bit bigger container. You can see how it is trailing. This one is also for $9.98. And that's the thing about shopping at a big box store like Home Depot. You definitely will get a lot of cost-effective pricing. I will say Home Depot, at least out of the big box stores, is still maintaining a lot of their outdoor tropical plants. I would say Walmart is starting to really dwindle down on their selection. So we're going to just keep updated and see what other plants they have at these big box stores. If you've made it this far, Plant Foldies, please make sure you are hitting the like button as well as leaving many comments for me in the comments section. I love engaging with you guys. It is something that just brings me a lot of joy, and it just makes me feel valued for the amount of efforts I put into making these daily plant shopping videos. You can see here we've got an Ixora plant. Now this Ixora plant has some cool blooms. I really like that a lot. And we have some more plumerias. So these plumerias are for $29.98. And then crotons. I know not everybody is all about crotons. I am all about crotons just because I really like that stark coloration. You know, some people might not be into that really dramatic colors in the foliage. Some people might want something less flamboyant, but I do love the look of this. This is only for $19.98. This is the common Petra croton. Really like the look of that croton, and it's another plant that I just truly appreciate because it's just got such beautiful coloration on it. The light that you give it, actually it likes to be in full sun, really influences the coloration of a croton. You can see right here, this one is also for $19.98. This is a croton mame. I like the croton mame as well. It is another plant that I feel like is a good value for $19.98. You can see that it's got some really good coloration as well. It's one that I would definitely pick as a house plant that I would choose to grow, only if I would be able to grow these outside, because when I went to the Philippines, that's exactly where my family is from originally. Crotons actually grow outdoors. They're really meant to be a tropical shrub. They can become full-blown trees. So I just feel like the lighting conditions we have in an indoor space will just not emulate that, and they're not going to thrive. And you can see here, all of these are tropical plants that Home Depot has. These are a bunch of the tropical hibiscus, really interesting plants. The only thing is, if you're going to grow them in a grow zone like mine, like 8B, they would need to be in a planter because you would need to bring them in indoors in the winter. They would not survive cold weather. And you can see we had some more crotons right over here. Now these ones have more of the darker foliage, and I just really love the fact that it has like dark black blooms, not blooms, but just foliage on it. Again, let me know in the comments, plant foldies, if you like crotons. This is a croton mame. Really excited for that. And I am trying my very best to just show you guys all of these big box store plant shopping videos. You know, it's been super hectic for me. Work's been hectic, but I am still glad that I'm able to film these. I'm actually filming this right off getting off work. So you can see here, this one is a for $19.98. This is the Earth Angel Hollywood hibiscus. What I like about this is, look at how beautiful the white bloom is. I love white flowers. I feel like there is such an elegance about white flowers. I mentioned that in all of my plant shopping videos, but you can see here, Earth Angel hibiscus. Now with these Hollywood series hibiscus, they need to be out in full sun alongside with this oleander, or what they call the parrot flower. Now oleander is extremely toxic. You do not want to ingest any of the leaves. It is definitely poisonous. It is not pet friendly, but it does have beautiful blooms. These ones right over here have pink blooms, and this is more of the hardy pink variety. And then obviously you can't go to a big box store and not look at a cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. Cordyline Hawaiian tea plant is a plant that is challenging to grow indoors because they're very much spider mite prone. You can see that somebody's left the water running, and this cordyline is enjoying it because it's staying wet. With cordyline plants, they can grow in full sun. They get really good variegation and coloration when they get more sun. I would recommend growing that outdoors. In the Philippines or a tropical country, these actually just grow as like ground cover, and they get massive. Now with cordyline Hawaiian tea plants, they do get leggy, but that is really the natural way they grow. Notice how that the stems right over there start to get woody. As it gets more mature, it just starts to size up and get tall that way. So it's not anything that you're doing if it's not really a full bushy plant. That's really just the natural way of the plant growing. And you can see here, $44.98. This cordyline is a larger plant. I do love that magenta maroon look. And then we have another large croton petra for $44.98. I'm so tempted to buy crotons, but the thing about crotons is they don't do very well when it's cold weather. And this one apparently is 50% off. That is a really good deal if that's really what it is. I mean, I would totally buy it. That'd end up being like $22 or somewhere around that range. And that's such a large plant. You know, we talk about plants and buying large plants because sometimes we just want that instant gratification. Sometimes we don't want to wait for a plant to grow that, you know, it takes a while for them to get that size. So buying large plants, I could totally get. And then over here, again, we have another Earth Angel hibiscus. What a beautiful hibiscus. Again, that is another plant that for $19.98, that's not a bad price at all. It looks like the Hollywood series hibiscus tend to bloom around the summertime. It is extremely hot here. We are in the 100-degree weather. You can see right here, red hot Esperanza bush. Pretty cool looking blooms as well. They've got those like bell-shaped type blooms. I like that orange bloom as well. And this is another plant that is a tropical plant. It will not do very well in cold climates. So I would assume that this may not be a perennial and be more so of like an annual plant unless you are overwintering it. And then this one right here is the Gold Digger hibiscus for $19.98. This is part of the Hollywood hibiscus series. Really nice golden color. I love the center of this flower. It's got like a red color around it. And you know, with hibiscus, they are definitely a tropical plant. This is another flower that was really growing very well in the Philippines. You know, I recently got back from vacation in the Philippines about 2 weeks ago. So seeing these big box stores and seeing the natural habitat, you can see that these plants are much smaller than what you would see in the wild, and they definitely grow a lot more vigorous in a tropical country like the Philippines. But you know, that's part of it. You know, we still want to enjoy these tropical plants. Like this one is for $22.98. Plant foldies, I gotta love the Vera Pink Bougainvillea. Now with Bougainvillea, they tend to do better when they are not as watered. They send more blooms that way. and they love full sun. Unfortunately, bougainvillea will not grow in my grow zone, which is 8B. So you would have to grow these in a container to bring indoors. And what makes it challenging to grow a bougainvillea indoors is that they require full sun. So unless you are growing them under a grow light, it's a little bit more challenging to get them to thrive over the winter time. But you can see here, like, I am almost tempted to buy this beautiful Earth Angel hibiscus. Look at that for $19.98. I definitely need that. It is absolutely stunning. And I actually, out of all of the hibiscus I've seen so far, I really love the look of the white hibiscus. I typically don't see white hibiscus. You normally see like the common red ones, but this one is a fabulous looking one. It depends on whether Home Depot will actually put those on sale, but I may be tempted to buy those. Now, I'm curious if anybody's actually attempted to grow hibiscus indoors. I know that hibiscus need to grow in full sun, so it may be a challenge. And then over here is another version of a bougainvillea. This one again needs full sun. I really wish I could grow bougainvillea because they're so beautiful. There are places that can grow them year round, like California can definitely do it. And then that Miracle Grow Shake and Feed is one that I use to mix in my soils. It definitely gives them a lot of nutrients. But this one is the James Walker bougainvillea. So this is another type of cultivar of a bougainvillea. And then as I pan away over here, plant foldies, you can see that this is a variegated ginger, really nice looking plant. This one is also for $19.98. I would love to be able to grow this plant indoors, but unfortunately, this is a plant that is challenging to grow indoors because it gets spider mites. And this is another plant that could potentially become a perennial, even in my grow zone. Now, I know in the Houston area, Houston, Texas area, this can grow in landscapes, but what a beautiful plant. I mean, look at that variegation. And then as I walk by here, lots of ferns. These are Boston ferns, and we still got a lot of heat tolerant plants right over here. You can see they've got some Chinese fringe plants. We've got some type of bush right over here, and I'm going to walk over and show you some more of these plants. I will say that this Home Depot, I mean, in my opinion, has a lot of plants to pick from, even though it is the summertime. This one now, all of these crepe myrtles are for $19.88. They were originally $26.98. So you can see that the best time to actually shop for certain plants is the summertime, because I've seen local plant nurseries reduce their plants to like 50% off. I've seen big box stores obviously put some sale pricing. Crepe myrtles, for instance, what a beautiful flowering tree. It's another plant that is very heat tolerant. Now over here, we've got an interesting Mexican bird of paradise. This almost looks like moringa leaves, and I really like the look of that. It is another beautiful plant that has some really bright blooms. What an interesting texture. And then right over here, we have some yellow bell or trumpet flowers. Another beautiful plant that is one that would need to be, I would say it's something that may not actually be able to grow year round. So I need to do more research on that, but that's a beautiful flower. I do like yellow flowers as well. And then these first edition crepe myrtles, I've always talked about dark foliage plants, and look at that. That is just such a beautiful plant. I love the red blooms, but I also love the white blooms of this particular crepe myrtle. Now, these first editions were actually introduced about 5 years ago, but now they have become a little bit more readily available. Now, these dark foliage crepe myrtles are not as tall as some of the typical crepe myrtles. The thing about crepe myrtles is they thrive actually in hotter climate, so they are perfect for the North Dallas area. McKinney, Texas is known as the crepe myrtle capital of the world, and you can see that they just grow them everywhere. They do not like to be like on the wet side because they end up becoming more fungus prone. So, you know, hot weather like that is actually a good thing for crepe myrtles. And you can see this one right here is for $26.98. I like the bloom of it. They're pretty vigorous in growth, so you can get a crepe myrtle to grow pretty fast. They can provide beautiful flowers in the summertime, and they just have a good bloom about them. Some of the larger ones can get fairly tall, but for the most part, they're about like a 15 feet type tree. And then over here, this is a twist of pink, variegated or oleander, and you can see that is the bloom right here. This one actually has some really good variegation. I've noticed that this Home Depot has quite a bit of these still left. The other Home Depot, which is closer to where I'm based at only has one left. I'm actually tempted to buy it because I really love the variegation, and I feel like this is one of those plants that could be a little bit more heat tolerant. So we'll see about that, but I absolutely love the look of these variegated oleanders. I think it's one that is really good, and it's another one that I would say if you have a space that can get full sun, it would be a beautiful plant to put, especially since it's variegated. So when it's not in bloom, it still gives you some good leaf interest. You know, I bought like a Phalaenopsis orchid, a variegated one, so when it's not in bloom, you still get some good leaf interest. What a beautiful plant. Now, in caution, you need to make sure that you are not putting that near your pets because it is a highly toxic plant. And you can see there are some large planters at Home Depot here, and I'm going to spin around and show you a couple more of the crepe myrtles. Now, care tips for crepe myrtles: they need to be in full sun. They prefer to be more so on the drier side. You don't really want to water the leaves. You want to water the base of the plant, because if the leaves stay a little wet, it is susceptible to mildew and fungus. So you want to make sure that they stay dry. This is another plant that really does thrive in hot conditions. And again, with Texas being hot, like we didn't really see the 100-degree weather until this week, the first week of August. I am just, you know, in awe that these plants are so heat tolerant. You know, it is the first week of August, and I am getting excited because my birthday is coming up this Wednesday, August 7th. I took the day off from work. I'm actually going to dinner tonight, this Saturday, so I may not be able to premiere this video Saturday evening. If I do, I may not be on the chat, but definitely for Sunday, it is my birthday week, and so I'll be celebrating that. I did want to also announce that me, Janae, Simone, Steven at I Live Plants were able to meet up this morning at Plant Keeper. So we did a cultivation corner premiere. So we are going to start doing a podcast, but we have some interesting videos, a collab video that's going to be coming out. I think they're going to be premiering. Janae's birthday is on August 6th, so Tuesday, and then mine will premiere on Wednesday, and then Steven's will premiere this Thursday. So Plant Foldies, please support all of our videos. It'll be an exciting one, and you know, I haven't been to Plant Keeper in a while, so it is going to be very interesting. I love Plant Keeper. It is one of my favorite local plant nurseries. Garen, Rachel, and John are amazing. And so I hope you guys will support our videos. And then on Wednesday, when I premiere that is going to be my birthday premiere celebration. So I hope a lot of our Plant Foldies will tune in during the live premiere chats. I would love to be able to just chat with you guys and really just enjoy some fun chat. But anyway, so go back to this big box store video. It's just really cool to see that we have quite a bit of plants right here. You can see that this is the Miracle-Gro I actually use, that fertilizer when I fertilize my plants. I think it's such a good all-purpose fertilizer, and it's a fertilizer that is easy to just get a hold of. It's very simple, and it is basically an all-purpose fertilizer. And you can see here, we've got a planter of some large canna lilies alongside with some potato vines, and then we have some some plumgado, I think that's how you pronounce it, that plant right there. And then we have a bunch of lantanas right over here. What an interesting looking lantana. This is for $19.98. Again, lantanas, especially in 100+ degree weather, they do perfect because they are heat loving. They love full sun. They're drought tolerant. They're very easy to grow for sure. And then over here, we have a bunch of beautiful coral bells. I love that. And as the light hits it, you can see that the leaves illuminate and have that fiery glow about it. It's interesting because it is more of like a shade plant. And then again, we have some more beautiful lantana. Next year, I will be planting these lantana. This one's for $8.98. What I love about lantana, again, full sun, heat tolerant. They grow very fast. They spread pretty fast. And they have these beautiful flowers. Like this one almost reminds me of like marigolds, but more so this plant is not as finicky as a marigold. I mean, marigolds, if they dry out, they will die, versus this, they can tolerate the heat, as well as these vinca flowers right over here in hanging baskets. But look at how beautiful the blooms are. I really love that orange and red bloom. What a beautiful plant. Lentianas, again, would not be something you would grow indoors. It needs to be in full sun. I also use this Shake and Feed by Miracle Grow. Love Miracle Grow products. You know, it's a really good fertilizer. And, you know, some people will talk about the Miracle Grow soils. I don't use the soils, but I definitely use their fertilizers. They do very well for me. They're all-purpose Miracle Grow liquid fertilizer. The 20-20-20 is actually a really good fertilizer, and it's inexpensive. Now over here, we've got some beautiful Cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. Again, that one is for $19.98. And I'm just going to keep walking around here and seeing what else they have. So we've got some more canna lilies right over here. That's in, actually not canna lilies. I forgot what this plant is called, but it is similar to a canna lily. It does have some interesting blooms. And when you touch the leaves are actually fuzzy. It's got a really nice texture about it. And I definitely enjoy that. And then over here, we've got more coral bells. We've got some more potato vines, and I'm just going to pan over and show you this. So this is really cool. So this one right here is, it looks almost like a mini vinca plant, but it's not, but it does have like that vinca flower look. Even the leaves look very similar. What a cool looking plant. It does look like a mini vinca flower. And then over here, we've got some sedum. This is some type of succulent. This is apparently a perennial. That's interesting for $8.98. It's got some nice variegation. I really like the edges of the leaves, and it looks like it would be some kind of like ground cover. So that's quite interesting. I don't know a lot about the plant, but you know, that's the thing about going big box or plant shopping. You tend to find plants that are interesting, and sometimes plants that you've never run into. Like over here, look at this right here. Again, doesn't this look like a miniature version of a vinca flower? You know, I am a fan of vinca flowers because they can grow in full sun. They're easy to grow. They're drought tolerant. And in the Philippines, for instance, they actually are not an annual plant. They can grow year round and can actually become like more of like a shrub or bush type flowering plant. And then look at these dark foliage plants. Gotta love this as well. What a beautiful plant. Really like the look of these potato vines. And then we have some more potato vines right over here. These are more of the neon color ones. And what else do we have right over here? We've got some more potato vines. What a cool looking potato vine here. This one is for $3.98. Gotta love that as well. Absolutely stunning plant. And that's another plant that's very vigorous. Some people will say it's a little bit invasive on the yard. So if you don't want it taking over your yard, make sure you put it in a bed that, you know, a flower bed that has like some surrounding, some like rocks to keep it from just taking over your lawn. I'm going to walk over here and show you again all of these beautiful croton plants. Gotta love the croton plants again. You know, croton plants, they are a tropical staple. That is another plant that can get massive. And then I'm just going to keep walking over here and showing you some more of these plants. You can see they've got a huge planter here. It's more of like a barrel. And then we've got some ornamental type grasses right over here. This one, I like that white variegation or the edge of it. Really cool looking plant. And then we can see this is a variegated faux lily. And then what else do we have here? We have some hanging baskets of ferns, some Boston ferns. And then this is one of my favorite ground covers. This is an Asiatic jasmine tricolor. So you can see this is the variegated form. I bought this. This is only for $5.98. It looks like it needs to be more in shaded areas, but you can see that the variegation is really cool. This is another plant that I'm hoping to be able to grow indoors. I currently have it in a container growing outdoors in my backyard. So we'll see what that looks like. And then you can see right over here, what a cool looking plant. It just has like nice cream and pink variegation. I would assume that if this plant actually gets more light, it would actually have some sun stressing and it would have better coloration as well. But you can see some more like ornamental grasses. And then we have another Madagascar palm right over here. And I didn't really realize that Madagascar palm can actually bloom. And then you can see we've got some succulents and cactus right here. That royal red euphorbia. It's a beautiful looking euphorbia. Again, I don't really have a lot of succulents and cactus, but I know that there's a couple of plant foldies that really appreciate it. So I tend to try to get you guys some more of that content. And you can see right here, we've got a bunch of Japanese maples or Acer palmatum. But Plant foldies, I am now going to enter the indoor tropical section. So if you haven't made it, if you made it this far actually, please leave some comments on the plants that you've seen. Also hit that like button. I did want to show you some of my planters that I tend to gravitate to. So I really like these simple white matte planters. You can see that there's just a smooth surface. It's matte, and that's just a planter that I prefer. That's the kind of look I like, more of like a modern planter. These are pretty nice, stylish ones, and I feel like it would just work with any plant. And then you can see right here, if this wasn't a shiny pink glaze one, I would also be about it. I like these simple shapes. I prefer more matte finishes, but you can see that Home Depot has quite a bit of planters to put your planters in. And this Home Depot, again, is super full. So I would say that not all big box stores are liquidating or downsizing their plants. You can see there's still quite a bit of plants here. For instance, all of these beautiful dark foliage bromeliads. I really like that a lot. And this is also for $29.98. That is another go-to plant of mine that I need to be adding to my collection. And now these are all for $5.98, although I think that there is a sale going on for like 3 for $10. This one is another type of Haworthia. Now, Haworthia are succulent plants, but what's interesting about Haworthia is they are more low light tolerant. And then you can see right here, we've got a Sansevieria Samurai. I've had a Sansevieria Samurai in the past. It does have prickly edges, so you have to really be careful of it, but that is another slow growing plant. It's another Sansevieria I eventually want to add to my collection. I'm actually wanting to find a Sansevieria that's Samurai that's variegated, so I may do a search on Etsy, and which actually brings me to another question, plant foldies. Do you guys actually shop online at Etsy for plants? Are there specific online shops that you buy your plants? I know that I've had to source out certain plants from certain nurseries online. Like I have bought from Canopy Plants before. They have some really good quality plants, but for the most part I'll end up buying some of my plants online from Etsy. So I'm just curious to see what online shops you guys shop at. Please leave that in the comments. I'd really like to really know where you guys buy your plants or where you source them at. But you can see here different types of little Sansevieria. That one is the braided one. I really like the look of that as well. And these are all for 3 for $10. Here's another Haworthia that they have available. So as you can see, if you shop at a big box store like Home Depot, you will find some sales. And I love the fact that, you know, some plants are still affordable. You know, I'm all about trying to save as much money on plants. I am all about trying to save money via just buying plants on sales, or if you share plants by, you know, plant propagation, plant cutting. I really like the look of that. But you can see lots of beautiful cactus as well. I am all about those cactus. You know, it is an interesting look for cactus. I just don't really grow a lot of them. And like even succulents, like I really like this. This is an interesting Kalanchoe. This is a Kalanchoe cinnamon. What an interesting name for it. It does have like a cinnamon color about it. And then again, these are all for three for $10. So you can pick three different types of succulents for $10, which is really a good price considering they were $5.98. So if you have a big box store like Home Depot, check out the sales that they may potentially have. I'm noticing that a lot of big box stores are either clearancing out their planters or putting a lot of their plants on sale. So that's really interesting, and we'll see. This is a variegated portulaca. I like that as well. And then you can see we have even more Haworthias over here. I'm going to walk around here and see what other succulents that they have. Again, plant foldies. Yeah, this is for 3 for $10. What a good deal. So I think that that's an awesome deal. I am on a no plant buy, at least for this episode. I want to make sure that I stay grounded in terms of not buying as many plants because I need to save my money for PlantCon 2024. Again, plant foldies, super exciting. And what's exciting is, but on August 12th, I will get my shipment of 40 Grow Folds Plant Foldy t-shirts. I have 4 colors. I did showcase what they look like. So if you're interested in ordering and purchasing one from me, it would definitely help me out and also show support for the channel. channel, let me know. Either send me a direct message on Instagram, especially if you're going to PlantCon. I can bring your Grow Folds t-shirt there. I am definitely going to be rocking it out, so you'll be able to find me that way. But if you also want to wear your Grow Folds t-shirt at PlantCon, I would love it. It does have a QR code directly to the channel, so I'm hoping that we can actually increase our subscriber count. Right now, we are at 9,906 subscribers, so we're getting so close to that 10,000 subscribers. And so what I asked Plant Foldies to help me increase our community is, number one, like the video, number two, comment on my videos, and number three, please watch my videos all the way through, because watch time is a huge factor on whether YouTube actually pushes the plant content out. So those are big ways. And obviously, if you have like social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever it is, please share my videos that way. I would love to have our Plant Foldy community grow. And I did want to take the time to just thank all of the Plant Foldies that continue to tune into my live premiere chats. Sometimes I'm not able to get a brand new video, but for those that show up for my compilation videos and still interact with each other, thank you for that. And then you can see, as I've pulled up a lot of these different types of succulents. They've got all sorts of Echeveria, Kalanchoe. We've got a really cool looking Crusala, and I thought this was a golem, but this is actually a Crusala Hobbit. So what an interesting name. And again, this is for $3 for $10. So you can pick and choose a couple of these succulent plants. Now, Plant Foldies, do you grow your succulents in like a cactus mix? Do you grow them in akadama or bonsai soil? Let me know in the comments. I have 3 different types of succulents right now. They're doing okay for me. I wish I was a little bit better at growing succulents, but they just require so much light. Like, look at this one. This one is a really nice succulent. This one is a kaleidoscope portulaca. You can see that it's got some green on green variegation, as well as like pinkish reddish stems. I like the look of this plant as well. That is another plant that can get pretty large. It's actually a pretty vigorous growing plant, and you can see all of the different textures of all of these cactus. You can see we've got some more Echeveria right here. This one I think is one of my favorite one. This one is an Echeveria Lola. Look at that. I really like the ghostly look about this particular succulent. We'll go ahead and pull up another one. I think this one is Angel's Kiss. Yep, this is Angel Kiss. That's definitely a nice looking one. I love the pastel look of this Echeveria as well. So Plant Foldies, just let me know if you actually grow Echeveria or these different types of succulents. You can see this one has a little baby that you can separate. This is Echeveria Happy. It does look like a happy plant in the fact that it is already producing a little baby pup. Again, I don't know a lot about succulents. I want to get into succulents. I just haven't had the time. And, you know, when you talk about shopping for big box store plants, you're always running into different types of plants. I think the reason why I do big box store plant shopping videos is because it really is for the masses. I think that, you know, plants are definitely plant collecting, plant growing should be available and accessible to everybody, and big box stores are all over, and that's the reason why I do film these big box store plant shopping videos. I realize that a lot of these plants that I feature are pretty much the same plants, but it's just fun. I don't know, Plant Foldies, it's just fun to be able to talk about plants for a good hour, and if I'm on the live premiere, just to be able to chat with you. But you can see all of these plants. It doesn't look like this Home Depot is actually running out of plants. They have quite a bit of plants to still pick and choose from, so I really like that a lot. And then we also have all of these aloe veras right here. Now these ones are also on sale. Now aloe veras do have a lot of medicinal purposes. This one is for $5.98. I've heard that certain people have started their houseplant journey by picking up an aloe vera flower, and not aloe vera flower, aloe vera plant. And as I pan away, you can see all of the Miracle Grow products. All of those plant food or fertilizers, like I honestly would recommend Miracle Grow all-purpose fertilizer. It's what I use for my plants, and they do very well. It actually helps them boost up their foliage. They get a little bit more vigorous in their growth. What an interesting cactus again right here. There's just so many different varieties of cactus, and what I like about cactus is not only do they have interesting like needles and shapes, but they also have interesting blooms. Now this is an easy to care for basic plant, and I say basic very loosely because I think everybody should grow an Epipremnum aureum neon pothos. This one is for $19.98. I really like the look of that, and I like the fact that it has such a neon yellow color about it. It is a plant that I would recommend anybody wanting to buy and adding to a houseplant collection because they're so easy to take care of. $19.98 is not a bad price at all. And I've seen this. This is another Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. This is probably the OG or the original houseplant that most people got their plant journey started. This is an easy to care for plant. I love that you can propagate it. I love that you can share it. I love that it can grow as a hanging basket, or if you grow it in a more natural environment, if you grow it up a totem pole or moss pole, the leaves will get extremely large. They can even fenestrate, which is super exciting. And then over here, you can see that we've got several varieties of bromeliads. I really like the look of bromeliads as well. This one is easy, or at least it says it's easy, for $14.98. I prefer the bromeliads that have that hot pink, almost just really flamboyant colors. Now this one has more of like a bloom. This one's for $19.98. This one is Guzamia bromeliad, I believe, and I like the fact that it has a white bloom about it. What a nice looking color. And we're just gonna go keep looking at some of these bromeliads right over here. This one comes in more of like a red maroon color. Beautiful plant. I used to not be interested in bromeliads, but they're actually a nice looking plant. They definitely give a tropical vibe about them. And then over here, what a beautiful for $18.98. Blooming anthurium, just a pink variety, and I love the pink blooms. Look at that. That doesn't even look real, but I also love how green and lush the foliage is. Now anthuriums in general are a little bit more challenging to grow, but these blooming ones for some reason are quite easy. It does need quite a bit of bright indirect light. They're easy though to propagate as well. You can take cuttings, and they are more of like a compact grower. They don't really get leggy, so I like that a lot. You can see some of the roots are already popping out. If I was not on a no plant buy, I would totally buy this plant because it's got some beautiful pink blooms about it. I like pink flowers. I like pink plants in general, and you can just see there's just so many different varieties of anthuriums to choose from. We've got a Sansevieria trifasciata here for $14.98, and again, this is another plant that I would recommend buying if you are a beginner plant. Now this one is tolerant of lower light, but it will not really grow unless you give it more bright indirect light. So just remember, just because a plant is lower light tolerant doesn't mean that that's the best condition you want to put it in. And you can see this is a Vigoro hanging basket fixture, $19.98. Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. I love golden pothos. I'm thinking about buying several golden pothos just because why not, right? You can take several cuttings from it. I have some rooted cuttings that have been rooted in water that I need to plant in a planter, but you can see this one right over here is an Epipremnum aureum marble queen pothos. This one isn't as variegated as most marble queens. This actually has more green on it, and the reason being is this probably didn't get nearly as much bright indirect light. To get the marble queen pothos to really give you some really nice variegation, you want to give it a lot of bright light, otherwise it starts to revert back to green. So you just have to be cautious about that. This is not a plant that has necessarily the most stable variegation, and it's because of the variegation being influenced by light. And then over here, this is a Philodendron heteroraceum Brazil, beautiful plant as well, for $19.98. Now this plant, the Philodendron heteroraceum, is not as vigorous as some of the pothos or Epipremnum aureum that you see. And then obviously Hoya carnosa. So this is basically the big box store Hoya carnosa, Crimson Princess, beautiful plant. Again, $19.98. This one has some fragrant blooms when it actually blooms. Really like the look of that, and I'm all about these plants as well. Look at how beautiful that pink is. And then you can see right over here, we've got some more Hoya carnosa. We've got some jade pothos right here. I love the green, just a typical green color about it. And then we have another Epipremnum aureum marble queen pothos. You can see that this one one is not as variegated. So, you know, if you're gonna buy a marble queen pothos, you want to try to look for one that has a little bit more variegation. You can see that some of its areas have already started to revert back to green, but needless to say, it's a beautiful plant. Now, the jade pothos or the green pothos is the fastest growing pothos. And then you can see over here, we've got a Monstera adansonii hanging basket for $19.98. I like the look of this one as well. The only thing about Monstera adansonii, I would not recommend growing it in a hanging basket long term. This is a plant that actually maximizes its potential beauty by growing up a totem pole or moss pole, because in the wild it actually attaches itself on like trees. If you haven't already, please plant foldies, check out my Philippines you know, videos. I love that because they will showcase all of the tropical plants in their natural environment. And then over here we've got some more beautiful Hoya carnosa. I really like the look of Hoya carnosa as well. Again, this is only for $19.98, and I feel like that's a pretty good price for a big box store. Hoya, you know, you don't typically see a lot of Hoyas in general, but if you do go to a big box store like Home Depot, you will not miss a Hoya carnosa for sure. And then we also have a Monstera adansonii, another Sansevieria trifasciata, and then as I pan away here, you can see that Vigoro hanging basket fixture always has some nice hanging basket plants. And then we also have a bunch of bromeliads and some beautiful anthurium here. As you can see, there are quite a bit of beautiful, colorful bromeliad and anthurium. And I want to go ahead and pan over here and show you some of the products I use. So I use this Osmocote Plus. This one is a really good slow release fertilizer you can mix into your soil as well as the surface of your soil. I like it a lot. It gives the plants a boost of just plant food, as well as all of the Miracle Grow fertilizers. Currently, Miracle Grow is not sponsoring me, but I did want to shout out Miracle Grow, because you can see right here, the Quick Start I actually use as a liquid fertilizer just for some of my smaller plants, especially the ones that I just recently had some root, some water propagated plants that I went ahead and potted up. I use that. I use the singles as well for my watering can. It's just a really good way to measure the fertilizer, but all of the Miracle Grow fertilizers, at least I've used them for several decades. Some people may not be into them, but you know, they're my go-to fertilizer, along some other fertilizers as well, like the Fox Farm fertilizers are awesome. And then over here we have a spider plant. This one has just a little bit of cosmetic damage. You can see some of the browning on the spider plant. Sometimes spider plants are a little bit challenging to keep perfect. Sometimes it's really just the harsh water that we might use that gives them the browning on the tips of the leaves. A quick way to fix that is just taking a pair of scissors and just cutting it off, and it doesn't really hurt the plant, but it does get rid of some of those crispy browning leaves. And then you can see right here, this is Echeveria Angel Kissed succulent, beautiful succulent. I just really love the iridescent look about it. And you know, with all succulents, they do require a lot of bright light. The only type of succulents that are not as needy of light would be like Haworthias, which it's still hard for me to believe that. But as you can see here, as I pan away, you can see several hanging baskets. And I will say the Prosper Home Depot has maintained quite a bit of plants. I do like the Home Depots that have like an indoor section that's kind of like a greenhouse. I like that they have all of their planters from wall to wall, and how they have these super organized. I do like that a lot as well. It just makes plant shopping a lot easier. Like right here, we have a bunch of proven winter plants. This one right here is the Leaf Joy series. I would say this one is a Ficus elastica ruby, or perhaps a Taniki. They're a little bit challenging sometimes to differentiate. Now, I would say with any Ficus elastica, they do require a lot of bright light. You know, in a tropical country, for instance, like the Philippines, these plants can actually grow into full-blown trees that are about 20 to 30 feet tall, which is massive. And then right over here, I find this interesting. This is called a Philadelphia Philodendron Green Princess. So it's definitely green. I don't know if it's, the name is just interesting to me. I do appreciate green foliage plants. Sometimes we do forget that green foliage plants are just as beautiful as some of the variegated plants. I get it. We all want to collect some of the variegated plants. I find myself gravitating to variegation as well. But the good thing about green plants like this Philodendron Green Princess is it is more hardy. It's more tolerant on just so many levels. And for the most part, they're more vigorous than just the variegated counterparts. And then, you can see over here, beautiful variegation though on this Ficus elastica ruby. Again, I think it's a ruby. It may be a tiniki, but look at that new leaf that just unfurled. It's mostly that cream color. I really like the look of that. And then even the subtle red vein on the leaf is a really nice touch to it. And then right next to it, we have a Ficus benjamina right here. Ficus benjamina can become full-grown trees as well. Some people will grow these indoors. The thing about it is, once they get into that size, they really do need a lot of light, and if they don't get the light, they will shed their leaves until they possibly get that lighting condition correct. And then over here we have another Ficus elastica burgundy. The thing about Ficus elastica burgundy is if you don't give it that bright light, it will mostly be like a greener tone versus the dark foliage, which is what I love. And then what a surprise, this is a Philodendron White Princess. Nice variegation, actually. This one, I believe, is also for like $19.97. I'm gonna just take that dead piece off, but that's a pretty nice variegated leaf right here. Now, I have about 3 of them that I'm currently growing, and they're doing very well for me. I have them already staked on a cocoa coir pole because these plants actually need to grow upward, and as they grow upward, that's basically their natural way of growing in the wild. They get larger leaves. So I'm really interested to see how they size up on their leaves. And then over here we have a Philodendron Red Sun. That's another Philodendron that I definitely want to add to my collection. It's one that I really just like the new leaves that unfurl. It's a really nice deep red orange color. And then over here we have another Philodendron Green Princess. So Philodendron Green Princess, this one looks to be a little bit more of a juvenile form. You can see that the leaves haven't started to get large, and I love this, and I'm super excited to be getting this actually soon. This is a Philodendron Belitiae, and while it's just a green form for $19.97, this is released by proven winners. Really like the orange stems. I should be getting my imports from Indonesia from Green Spaces ID on Tuesday. The only thing I'm scared of is the fact that it has been 100+ degree weather in Texas. So I'm hoping to be there when they deliver the plants via UPS mail. So we'll see what that looks like. But I definitely will film that for all of the grow folds, plant foldies. So if you're ever interested in purchasing from Green Spaces ID, we'll see what that looks like. But definitely stay tuned for that. I hope that these plants come to be in pretty good form. Considering this the weather right now, it's not the best time to really be getting plants in the mail, which brings me to another point. Like, I will be doing more plant giveaways on my Instagram. So if you're not following me already, please follow me on Instagram at GrowFolds. The other day we were actually out filming, me, Janae Simone, Steven from I Live Plants, and we have this new collaboration called Cultivation Corner. So you will definitely see a lot of our collabs. We will have a 3-part series starting on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Janae's birthday is actually on Tuesday the 6th. My birthday is actually on this coming Wednesday the 7th, and then Steven will release his video, I think, Thursday. So stay tuned for that. But just some exciting news I wanted to show you guys and let you guys know. But anyways, to go back to the plants, as you can see, the Proven Winners plants are a staple at the Home Depot. And, I was a little bit concerned when I was going to some big box stores because I thought that some big box stores were really downsizing their plants. But at least this Home Depot here tends to have quite a bit of plants left. I really love that, and it just brings me a lot of joy to be able to show you guys these plants, like this bird's nest fern right here. The hurricane version is a really cool plant, and as I pan away, as you can see, it's still quite full. And the cool thing about big box store plant shopping during the summertime is you will cash in on a lot of really nice sales. Some of the plants end up going on clearance, so it is a pretty good time to actually buy plants. I would suggest it, but as you can see all of these plants are still pretty healthy. We've got this fern right here, for instance, for $10.98 in like a terracotta stone planter. I really like the look of that as well. It's got a very rustic vibe. And Plantfoldies, if you have made it this far into the video and haven't already, please make sure you are hitting that like button. It definitely helps my videos out. Also leaving many comments for me. I love the engagement, and I will answer pretty much any question you guys ask me. That's really part of the allure for me on why I create these 1 hour plant shopping videos. Not only do I like to interact with you guys via chat, but also just via comments. And then you can see right here, this is another beautiful Calathea rospicta. It's actually one of my favorite Calatheas, in a sense that I just love that that dark border, and then you've got that subtle what is it, blushing like purple tone about it, and then the purple undersides. It's just that Calatheas are so difficult for me to grow. They either get spider mites, I may not just water them, so it's a plant that I really am not going to have to add to my collection, at least until I can get my plant situation figured out. And then over here is a Ficus elastica Chloe, and what I like about the Chloe version, which is a proven winners hybrid, is it's pretty much got round leaves, more rounder leaves as compared to most Ficus elastica or rubber trees. And then as I walk around this corner, this is a whole table of Sansevieria trifasciata. These are also for $14.97. And, you know, Plantfoldies, this is a plant that I'm not so keen on purchasing. You know, it is always marketed as a low light tolerant plant, easy care for plant. But I will tell you, these plants actually need a little bit more light. That's one of the biggest mistakes of assuming that a Sansevieria can just grow in darkness. It cannot, because it'll actually start to get fungus and like root rot when it's not able to get all of the nutrients and just to be able to photosynthesize. And then over here, we've got some golden pothos, or Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. I am actually going back to the basics in terms of just having these easy care for plants. This is another pothos plant that I would definitely add, actually for $9.88. I may end up picking up one of these pothos because look at that. Look at how beautiful it is. This is actually a really highly variegated one. You can see that there's a lot more variegation. And with the golden pothos, in order for it to really maintain that variegation, you do need to give it a lot of bright indirect light. It's one plant that if you don't give it as much light, it will start to get a little bit darker, and may even revert all the way back to a jade pothos. But it was $12.98. It's now on sale for $9.88. So that is the thing about plant shopping at big box stores in the summertime. And then over here is for $7.88. This one is in a 4.5-inch planter. I would go with the 6-inch planter. I think you get a better deal for $9.88. But this is still a beautiful plant here. And you can see that it's starting to trail, so you can take several cuttings. I just recently chopped up some of my Syngoniums. They were getting a little bit leggy, so I'm water propagating them as well. You know, everybody's been asking me about a home tour, a plant tour. I just keep saying and probably delaying it, but it's coming. It's eventually going to make it to the channel. So just keep staying tuned. You may just see that soon. And then over here, we've got some Sansevieria. I think these are more of like the bird's nest Sansevieria. I like this as well. The thing about Sansevieria is they are a little bit slower growing. And then for me, there's not really a big push for me to want to get a Sansevieria. I've heard though that they do purify and clean air very effectively. So that might be something I want to put like next to my bedside. But other than that, I don't find them as like interesting as some of the other plants, like this Aglaonema Silver Bay. Like, you know, $14.97. You can't go wrong with Aglaonemas, and that's another plant that I was super in love with earlier this year. Sort of fell out of love with it, but now I'm going back to collecting more Aglaonemas. You know, I get these phases where I, you know, develop an obsession of a certain plant, like Coleus plants. I'm still in love with Coleus plants, but I'm excited that I do have all of my Coleus plants growing out in my backyard. I have like a automated sprinkler system, so I don't have to worry so much about the plant care. And I think that that's what makes plant care challenging indoors. I mentioned this in all of my videos, but it's not like you can take a hose and water your plants indoors. You actually have to physically water them using a watering can. I have been using my shower head to just pretty much take a bunch of plants and use my handheld shower head to water them, and it's been a little bit more effective. I've been more consistent, so go me. I'm not sending as many plants to Plant Heaven because of that. And then you can see right over here, just a whole bunch of neon pothos, and then this beautiful Aglaonema Silver Bay, again for $14.97. Now, the Aglaonema Silver Bay is one of the common Aglaonema. It is a plant that is low light tolerant. So if you have an area in your home that may not get as much light, you can place this plant in that area. What I would say is if you put a plant in a low light area, you can still take the plant sometimes, you know, near a window or outside in the morning, just so it can get a little bit more of a boost. I've been doing that as well. Like, so some plants that I have in the corner, I will actually bring out maybe once a week toward the light so they can actually get a lot of light on them. I think that's one way to make sure that your plants are still able to photosynthesize and really get some of that growth coming along because of the light. Now, this Dracaena, again, is another Dracaena I like. I have 3 Dracaenas. They're doing very well for me, and I'm happy to say that you know, I'm a proud Dracaena parent, because people just really don't look at Dracaenas. I think they just kind of overlook them, but there is something to be said about easy care plants, plant foldies, and I will mention this in this video, in my future videos, in my past videos. Find yourself a plant that is not going to give you so much fuss. Find a plant that, even if it's not something that people may gravitate to, if it gives you interest, if it gives you joy, I would go ahead and purchase the plant. You know, there's a lot of plants on Instagram or social media that become very much like the it plant or the trendy plants. But for me, I tend to go on the other opposite spectrum, in a sense that, yes, I recently posted on my Instagram a beautiful Monstera albo that I treated myself for my birthday, for instance. I bought it from Fitzgerald Tropicals. They're a local seller in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But then I also am into other plants such as like blooming anthuriums, or I don't know, pothos plants, or even syngoniums, you know, things like that. Those are plants that maybe not everybody is all about. I know for a fact syngoniums is not something that people really talk about or really grow. So that's just things that I want to try to influence us. It's just to really look at a different lens when it comes to what plants we put in our collection. Now, I would love to bring this Calathea Dottie right here in my plant collection. This one I think is for $19.97 in a terracotta planter. Beautiful plant. It is got such a stunning and elegant dark foliage on it. You know, plant foliage, we talked about this before. I am all about the dark foliage plants. I think it is stellar. I think it's one of those things where we all need some dark foliage plants in our life. This one is interesting because this is a Calathea green goddess. So we had a philodendron green princess. Now we're finding a Calathea green goddess. I always find it interesting that certain plants just get these really unique names, or not so unique names. I would say the Japanese rare plant breeder, Kunzo, he comes up with the most amazing names, like the Monstera Yellow Marilyn. It was more so because it was named after Marilyn Monroe, and that particular Monstera actually had more like a yellow variegation. So just little tidbits of that. Anyways, Ficus elastica taniki. Now this is a legitimate Ficus elastica taniki. You can see that it's got more of that cream white variegation, and one of the most beautiful plants. And I love the fact that Ficus taniki is not as expensive for such a stunning plant. Now, this is interesting. This is an Alocasia stingray, and I remember buying an Alocasia stingray specifically at this Home Depot. Look at how beautiful the leaves are, and actually the shape of an Epipremnum skeleton keys when it starts to mature kind of looks like an Alocasia stingray. And when you watch my video from Plant Keeper, you will see that I was gifted an Epipremnum skeleton keys cutting from the people, from John, from Rachel, and Garen, just because they wanted to show some appreciation. I never really expect that from plant nurseries whenever we do videos. I simply just love showcasing local businesses and even big box stores. But to go back to that, you can see they have different types of Alocasia. So this is an Alocasia cuculata. I had one that I found at a Home Depot that had some sport variegation. I would say that the variegation kind of shows still. I'm growing all of my alocasia outside because they're just easier to maintain when they're growing outside. I find that they size up pretty big as well. And so that's what I'm going to do. You know, whenever I'm thinking about rehabbing a plant, getting a plant to size up, I just take them outside, put them in an area that gets a little bit more shade, morning light, and that does the job for me. Over here is a Ficus umbellata. Now I have a Ficus umbellata that I'm growing indoors. It's honestly not doing its best because I feel like the umbellata really needs a lot of light. I think I'm going to end up moving it into my bedroom, which basically has windows that are west facing. Maybe that west facing sun is going to really give it a little bit more of a boost for light. It is growing under a grow light, and I just think that it just needs a little bit more light than the grow light can provide. Again, we have some Alocasia cucullatas again, and then we have some more Ficus taniki. And then we have a bunch of ZZ plants here. These are the large ZZ plants. I love ZZ plants. This one is for $29.98. Not a bad price for a big ZZ plant. You know, this plant takes a while to get to this size. So if you don't want to like wait that long or grow a ZZ plant to this size, you can just go to a big box store like Home Depot and end up purchasing yourself a ZZ plant. There is nothing wrong with purchasing a larger foliage plant. Sometimes I get to the point where I want to do that. There is a plant that I want to buy, a plant keeper, that is basically a mature totem pole of Epipremnum skeleton keys. I might do it, we'll see, but depending on what my birthday gifts that I get, that some people have already been giving me, we'll see what that looks like. I'm really saving a lot of my money for PlantCon 2024. And again, Plant Foldies, if you are going to PlantCon 2024, I do have some t-shirts that I will have available for sale. Maybe you guys can actually model it at PlantCon. I know I'll be wearing some PlantCon t-shirts. I know my best friend Isaac, who has the YouTube channel Hi JR Sings, will be wearing some Grow Folds t-shirt, as well as Plant Foldy Luke. So super excited about that. But to go back to the plants, you can see that Home Depot right here, I wouldn't even think that it was summertime, considering that they are still super full with these plants. We've got some palms, we got a bunch of Alocasia Californias. That's one Alocasia actually that is quite common at Home Depot. That one is another Alocasia. However, when you grow indoors, is super spider mite prone. Same thing with the Alocasia Regal Shield. So it's a challenge. I would just say that it's definitely a challenge. It's one that if I could grow these indoors, I would. And the thing about this is these Alocasias, for instance, like the Alocasia Regal Shields, they just get so large indoors. And the problem is if you use systemic granules that are for pest control, they don't kill spider mites. They'll take care of like mealybugs, fungus gnats, but not spider mites. You know, that's another whole issue with that. And I really think that a lot of these plant pests really come about because the plant, when it's growing indoors, is more susceptible. It's just not in its natural environment. To go back to it, if you live in a tropical country like the Philippines, where the humidity levels are high, the water that they get is literally from rainwater, the plant is just healthier. The plant is happier. The plant is not releasing pheromones that would let plant pests be invited, because they're susceptible and their health isn't at the best. But I will say this, I almost bought this Aglaonema White Rain. What a beautiful Aglaonema right here. I didn't even think that, Home Depot would carry such a large version of this Aglaonema. Beautiful plant. I believe it is like for $29.98, but it is such a large foliage plant, and I love the white stems. White stem Aglaonema, I'm telling you, is just fabulous. It looks like it just got done with some of the blooms, and it looks like there's just several blooms in there. If I come back and it's still here, I may end up just buying that because I do like the look of that Aglaonema. And then right over here, we've got a Ficus lyrata. This one's looking a little bit straggly though. That one's for $29.98, but that Aglaonema is stunning. And then over here, we have some China doll plants. This is definitely a plant I cannot add into my plant collection. Even though it's only for $19.98, it's actually a pretty good price for it. It's just a plant that really needs a lot of water. And I am an underwaterer. I don't water my plants nearly as much as I should, or maybe I'm not as consistent. Now, this is another aglaonema. This one's just the aglaonema silver base. So you've seen the ones for $14.97. This one is a larger version for $29.98. If you want instant gratification, I would go ahead and just buy this larger one. I'm actually tempted to buy just a larger aglaonema silver bay. And the reason being is aglaonemas are such a slow growing plant. It takes a while for them to get to that size. And sometimes I just want that instant gratification. Sometimes I don't really want to take the time to wait for the plant to grow. So plant foldies, let me know what you think about that. Do you just grow plants from like baby plants, or do you just go ahead and buy the large plants? I'd love to hear your comments. Any comments you guys provide actually really bring me a lot of joy. That's one huge way you can support the channel. But you can see, look at this forest of Alocasia, Ficus elastica. We've got a bunch of proven winner starter plants right here. And it's really easy to just go to a Home Depot like this and basically want to just buy all of these plants. I've caught myself doing that, and it's just something that I feel like I need to sometimes. But then again, it's the plant budget, and that's something I'm also curious about in terms of how much do you actually budget into your plant collection, how much you spend. But I did want to just show you the final area right here. This is near the registers in the check lane self-checkout. Tradescanthia Feeling Flirty. These are all for $5.98, and I will say that is super cost effective for a lot of these starter plants. Here's another spider plant here. I have yet to find a perfect spider plant to really add into my collection. That is one plant I would like to add because it's one of your go-to OG plants. And then over here, we just have more starter plants. The Hoya Sea Stones, really nice looking Hoya. I love that green on green variegation. So plant foldies, what do you think about this particular Home Depot? Do you like the plants that you've seen so far? Are these the same types of plants you're seeing at your Home Depot? I'd really like to know your comments. Just know that this week I'll have several brand new videos. If you ever see a marathon or a compilation, that's really just more of a filler video, just because I haven't been able to film. And I still hope that you guys will still tune in, chat away, and maybe just hashtag team replay it. It does help with my consistency on just making sure I have something posted for y'all daily. But you can see all of these are hydroponic plants that are just growing in straight water. I do think it's a little bit pricey though for the proven winners hydroponic plants. I do like this, $10.98. What a beautiful syngonium. And I like this syngonium specifically because it has rounder leaves. I like the pink veins. It's a really nice looking syngonium, and I have been trying to rehab some of my syngoniums that I've neglected. But when I do my houseplant tour, I hope to be able to showcase some plant styling, some of the plants that y'all have not seen. It's something that I am super excited to share with my plant foldies. But this is the last plant I'll show you, Philodendron Lemon Lime. I've enjoyed being able to show you guys these videos. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button. And this is Richie at Grow Folds. Please subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.